She's just like, you have to. I want this more than anything else in life.
I want more
What
than
did they
anything in
do?
the
What
world
did they do
with
that's
my
even
boss
immoral?
And
Yeah,
add
so
on
what
that
do
the
they
girl
more
made
nuts
past
about
accusations. Add on that girl's
Yeah.
made past
So the answer-
accusations.
So the answer is this. The answer is
what's the answer?
The question of who asked originally.
No, you're staring at somebody with a knife out. What the fuck are you talking about? This is not the same. He's explained to me, other than saying he asked for sex and he has a big crowd. Don't use those two things.
Trying to ask you
Don't use those two things. How did he threaten her?
from the outset. If there's a 3-month if there's a 2-month delineation, I think in our original conversation I said 3 months, but I'd be convinced of 2 months.
Why not 2 weeks? Why not 2 weeks?
Like, come on.
Why not?
There's an implication.
The
with
fuck are
respect
you
to
talking?
her
So they were gonna have
life.
sex on screen and there wouldn't be the implication? Of course
There's
you
a
closed.
statement-
Okay, see, this is why you shouldn't go off on tangents. Just engage with the questions I'm
I'm ready. I will
specifically
engage with
asking
the
you.
question. I'm ready.
Same point.
It's
He doesn't make
always
the same
threatening.
point.
It's
Guys,
always, 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 always. That's the
Exactly.
difference. Always. That's an actual threat.
I don't.
Wait,
It's
hold on,
not just-
Quibbles. Wait, hold on, Quibbles. If an
No,
employee
that's
comes up
insane,
to her
man.
boss and says, "Hey, I want to have meaningless sex with you for one night," do you think that the boss is
Tom,
gonna
that's like
think you're
molesting
wrong?
a 7-year-old.
Saying the type of consent is
creates a
different,
life.
but like, how's it
You
so much
said that it's
worse?
different based on danger. You're saying
No,
it's different.
I'm not
Yeah,
saying that.
reasons you
I'm
listed
not
were
saying
danger.
I'm making a.
Well, then what
spiritual
makes them different?
Show. Tom is a regular. On
Is
Stephen's
Tom
show.
having sex with
That's
Destiny? Is Tom
That's
having
my
sex
point.
with Destiny?
That's my point. Tom
Wait.
isn't
Okay, right. And he's
And
still
that's
been
my
on
point.
Destiny's show, right?
asking
Yeah, no,
for
listen
Chloe
to me. Listen.
as a prerequisite.
Okay,
to
wait a
Chloe.
minute. So now, when you're gonna go back to the work situation, now you have to add in the features that are like Destiny. So this person that he's at work with,
You just don't believe in like workplace harassment.
I don't
No,
believe in workplace
Quibbles,
harassment.
Stop. Hold on. Stop.
Yeah.
Quibbles.
Yeah, nice to meet that other kid. What's his name? What's the other guy's
SpeakeaZy,
name
bro.
involved?
It's nice to meet you too, man.
Yeah, and can you agree with me real quick that quibbles over coffee is a fucking dunce?
Yes, he's a fucking nuts. I agree.
But over which aspects are abusive and which ones are not are probably going to be the important sticking points, and so that's what we're going to try to focus on. Just here to moderate, though I might like at times jump in just to like make sure that I'm we're all on the same page, or to steel man an argument, or to help move the conversation forward. But I guess we would start, since Quibbles is the one who believes that these things are abusive or exploitative. We will allow him to go ahead and start with some aspects that he believes to be such.
All right. I'm
Okay.
done.
So, I mean, there's the parts that I'm sure you agree are abusive, but I don't think those are particularly interesting. So the obvious examples are that he groped Maya Rose. He leaked Blue T's nudes to his friends. He cheated on Melina. Those kinds of things are like obvious, but I don't think they're particularly interesting. The more interesting kind of conversation, I think, is about this question of the casting couch. So if you're a boss and you have sex with an employee, I think that we just need to say categorically, I think there needs to be a rule that is something that we just aren't okay with as a society. And the reason for that is because that power differential and that soliciting of sexual favors in exchange for employment or career advancement, I think is just across the board a problem, regardless of what the job is. That would be true if you are having sex with a senior vice president as the CEO of a Fortune 500. It would be true if you are the general manager of a Burger King and you're having sex with a fry cook. I think that's one level. There's another layer, which is like, I think that there's a problem if you're having sex with a student. Like there's other kinds of relationships that are in the same similar kind of boat of this power differential just definitionally is a problem. So like students are a problem. You shouldn't have sex with students. I don't think you should be having sex with contractors. Like if I am a major person, this is an example from my argument with Tom earlier, but if I am a major person in the construction industry, I shouldn't be having sex with my plumber who gets 60, 70% of their income by virtue of their relationship with my company. I shouldn't be doing that kind of thing. I think another example is like a renter, right?
Okay, let's see it. Let's let him respond real quick. Do you think that
Okay, yeah,
a
that's fine.
boss can have sex with their employee?
Well, so I, in my opinion, yes, but I want to know why you think. What exactly? Because like, so actually, maybe this will be better. So is it the fact that so no one that could potentially benefit someone else's life should, so you shouldn't have sex with the person that you could potentially benefit?
I think that the way I would describe it is that a yes where it would be exceedingly difficult to say no isn't a real yes.
Okay, that wasn't my question. My question is, if I have some type of, because you named off all these things, right? So let's use the contractor one you just used, right, for yourself, right?
Sure. Sure.
So you think that, right, is why exactly is it the reason? Just the fact that you can benefit their life?
If I have the capacity to take away 70% of someone's income, that would suggest that I have a level of power over them that is enough that it makes it very difficult for them to say no to me, even if they want to say no to me. So that's a yes that I might hear that has so much baggage against the no that their yes isn't a real yes because it's hard for them to say no.
Because you think that they could ruin them. So like it's about basically being able to benefit or ruin someone's life. Like this is what it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah. If you have the capacity to create repercussions for a person that are beyond sexual repercussions, I think that is broadly space where abuse is possible. And I think that there are certain situations where there's space for enough abuse that as a category, we have to reject that kind of sexual interaction.
So if you can largely benefit or largely affect their life in a negative way, is this?
Yeah, it's not just a matter of whether it's large. It's about categories. You have to build these categories. So like I could imagine like the example of the fry cook and the general manager, that's actually the reality is if you work at McDonald's, you can probably get a job at Dairy Queen, right? It's not that hard for you to move from one job to another job in that level. And you could probably, the effect on your career if you're fired from McDonald's isn't nearly as massive of a change in your lifestyle as if you're, say, not given a job as the assistant DP or whatever on Martin Scorsese's next movie. But in both cases, I don't think Martin Scorsese should be having sex with his actors, and I don't think that a general manager should be having sex with his fry cook.
Okay, I understand all that. I want to just be able to understand exactly the reasoning because, like,
yep,
like especially when people just use power dynamics as the reason and they don't, because there's always you're always able to have influence over someone, But so for you, it's basically if they have a large influence, like like that fry cook one you just said, you wouldn't be okay with that.
So there's two answers that I have to you. The first answer is yes, but the second answer is that like the reason that I'm looking to create these categories is that from an outsider observer's perspective, I can't know all of that dynamics of an individual person who works at McDonald's. I can't understand their lives with detail, but I can say as a category, this is your boss and this is your employee. And as a category, we have to have certain rules about how those interactions operate. And so if you're going to build those rules, they're by definition going to be rules of thumb. And they're by definition not going to have a perfect umbrella that is exclusive of every single framework of abuse possible and inclusive of every kind of abuse that is not possible, if that makes sense, right? But you
Yeah,
have to make the rule.
I do understand where you're coming from there. I just think so I don't think we should be able to dictate who people date. So okay, because there's a power. You said the casting couch. We're gonna use this as an example for a second. The casting couch, right? So if I was to shame a woman for selling her body, saying she's a prostitute, she's a slut, this and that, would you look at me as a negative person for this?
I don't know what you mean by look at you as a negative person. I would see that as an action that is probably a bad action, but I probably wouldn't condemn you writ large as a person, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, that does make sense, but that would be bad.
That would be a bad thing for you to do. Yeah.
Okay, but the guy who's purchasing the sex,
Also bad.
it's also bad, but like, it's not
The guy
bad to
purchasing
shame
the sex is
him.
probably-
Wait. It's not bad
No,
to
you should-
shame
you
that
should
guy.
If someone is purchasing sex, you should shame him. Yeah,
So
for sure.
it's bad to just make sure you understood what you just said. It's bad to shame the girl who sells her body, but it's good to shame the guy who buys her body.
Yeah, for sure. Because
Wait a
she's,
minute.
I think that yeah. Do you want me to explain?
Yeah.
Should
Because
I-
go ahead.
Yeah, I think that when you're talking about that as a power differential, like she's the one who's on the receiving end of the problematic behavior. She's the one who is the victim of the situation. I think that he is the perpetrator of the situation. So my relationship to him is going to be different than my relationship to her. I don't think either one of them are like massively awful people. If you're asking like, hey, void context, like, is it good to be a prostitute? Of course, it's not good to be a prostitute. But if you're asking, hey, like, should we insult the prostitute? Well, no, because in a lot of cases, people are prostituted. In a lot of cases, people are in the situation that they are where they're getting prostituted and they don't actually have full control over the fact that they're being prostituted. And so therefore, I'm not comfortable as a reflexive answer to like insult or question the morality of a person who's being prostituted, because even if they claim that it's them who's doing the prostitution, in many cases it is not the case that they are doing that without any sort of undergirding pressure on them to do so. Whereas the John, the guy who's buying it, almost all cases, he's doing that because he feels like it.
So like all the girls on OnlyFans, they're not like, they're all victims. All them, so the escorts that are in those back pages, they're all victims. So
they're not all victims, but I think that a lot of them are. Whereas the guys who
how do you differentiate? How do you make the difference between which ones are victims? So the ones that aren't the ones that aren't victims, the ones that are just selling their bodies. So do we shame the guys who buy their bodies then, or what?
Well, as a guy who's purchasing those bodies, I don't know how you'd be able to decipher which one is which.
And same with the other way around, right? So it's kind of weird to like go back
so
to
my
my
point
normal
is-
question
yeah,
when
my
I
point
say you shame one for buying the body, but you're not allowed to shame the one for selling the
So-
body. And
so
women
if
always
you're
say sex is
purchasing-
liberating, right? I don't know if you stand with those kind of views, but like they always say sex
don't.
is liberating. So
Yeah, I don't. But so the purchaser is, if you purchase, let's say, 60, not even purchase, if you just watch 70 porn videos over a period of a year,
yeah,
or whatever it is, that almost guarantees over a period of 70 videos over a year, 70 different people who are in the sex industry. There's almost a guarantee that you have almost certainly watched at least one video that is of a person who really didn't want to be in the sex industry, but was pressured into being in the sex industry. Now, it's also true that you probably watched some videos of a person who did not get pressured into the sex industry. But so the way that I would think about it is, as you as the consumer are definitionally responsible in a tiny way in the case of watching porn. I'm not saying that you're like a monster for watching porn, but if you've watched 70 videos over a period of a year, you are guilty at some level of benefiting a system that has abused at least one or two of those 70 women. Whereas if you're a prostitute, either you are yourself a victim of abuse, that's possible, or you're not a victim of abuse, but you also aren't abusing anyone. So in either case, whether you are a non-abuser as a porn star, or you are the victim of abuse as a porn star, I don't think that I'm comfortable insulting the porn star for being a porn star, whereas I am comfortable insulting, again, very small degree in this case, the person who's watching the porn. And in the case of someone who's like actually buying sex, who's like actually, you know, having sex with a prostitute, I would be more willing to condemn that person more harshly.
Yeah, I just I feel like that makes no accountability on the woman's side in that situation with that you just talked about, and like
You
this,
understand why, right?
well, I understand what you're saying, but like, unless you could show me some type of study that shows me more of the women that are in pornography are forced into it, like most of the women.
Well, so then let me ask you a question.
Okay.
If you are a prostitute, who are you potentially abusing?
Who am I potentially abusing?
Yeah.
If I sell my body.
Just by virtue of being a prostitute. Yeah,
Okay.
if you're selling your body, who are you potentially abusing?
I don't think you're abusing anyone for releasing
I agree
or
with you.
selling your body.
If you are, yep, I agree with you. So you're not abusing anyone.
Okay.
If you are a John, if you're having sex with a prostitute,
That you paid
who are
for?
you potentially abusing?
Who are you potentially abusing?
Yeah.
But like, what do you mean? Are you? Oh,
So my answer is,
I get what
as a
you're saying.
John, you're
Okay,
potentially-
so there's potential
potentially
abuse on the
abusing
one
the
side,
prostitute.
where on the other side there's no potential abuse.
There's no potential for abuse. Yeah.
So okay.
So therefore, I'm willing to condemn the behavior of purchasing a prostitute, or renting it, whatever you want to call it. That exchange from that side of the exchange, I'm willing to condemn. Whereas on the other side of it, I'm not willing to condemn it, because in every single case of a person being a prostitute, they are not guilty of abuse. And in some cases of a person who is purchasing a prostitute, they are guilty of abuse. And the person who's purchasing a prostitute is not engaging in a way that they can know whether or not this is a person that they're engaging with, who is or is not being abused. And so therefore, whether or not the person is being abused, the person that's receiving their sex, that person is a person whose abuse the John doesn't care about.
Okay. Do you should I condemn you right now for using the phones and the computer that you're on?
To some degree, probably, yeah.
I should condemn you for these things? Because almost 100% of the batteries that you use that are rechargeable, you understand that, right? 100% almost.
To some small degree.
But why is it small? Yours is killing mad children, and the other one is a potential. Okay, go ahead.
To some small degree, the fact that I am currently talking to you over a MacBook computer means that I am responsible at a small level. I think this is very similar to like watching porn. At a small level, the fact that I have this Mac means that I am responsible for continuing the mines in Nigeria or wherever it is that are responsible for getting all the minerals that go into the building of the chips that go into the building of this computer. That's true. And so therefore I am at a small level guilty of that. And I think similarly at a small level that if I watch porn or you watch porn or anyone else does, that at a small level that is something that is morally wrong. I don't think that it is comparative to the wrongness of like rape, certainly. I don't think that it's comparative to the wrongness of murder. I don't think it's even comparative to the wrongness of like sleeping with a prostitute or the wrongness of like, you know, screaming the N-word at someone because you feel like being a racist, right? Like these are there's layers of wrongness, but
all of those things you just named are abuse in your head. So
no, not all of those things are abusive behavior, and also not all abusive behavior means that you are abusive.
Okay,
right?
So using your phone isn't abusive.
No,
but watching porn is.
Watching porn is also not abusive, but watching porn, like having a computer, is part of a system, a broader system of that does include ultimately is reliant on abuse.
Okay.
But it itself is abusive.
Yeah. See, it's when you put the abusive to so many different things that like do the same thing, it'd be But I understand what you're
What
saying.
what have I just called abusive?
You just
What-
named
what do
off a
you
bunch
think
of
I would
different
say?
things.
No, I
But-
haven't said all those things are abusive.
They're not
I've
different
said,
levels
like,
of abuse.
if
You
you-
didn't just say that.
I said that abuse, like,
Some
there
on
exists
a small
a
level, some are
spectrum.
more. Yeah.
There exists a spectrum of abusive, but somewhere there is a line, and you say that this is a behavior that is category abusive, and then somewhere further on the line there is something that you say, if you've engaged in this behavior even once, you are guilty of abuse. You are an abusive person, right? So if you've raped anyone ever, you are an abusive person.
You're a
If
rapist.
you've ever in your entire life done any number of things, that's an abusive behavior, sure, but you're not an abusive person, if that makes
Let
sense.
me ask a clarifying question.
Yeah, go for it.
Quibble. So you're saying that we can condemn these people for doing something like using a graphics card in a computer, right? What is
Probably not. I wouldn't condemn a person for that. I
Well-
would say, like, if you have
You did
everything equal,
you did say
If-
that to some extent you are condemnable for using
to some extent, if I said that, I was imprecise in my language. To some extent, you are, like, responsible for perpetuating a system of abuse, but I don't think that is abusive behavior. I think that, like, just existing in the system of capitalism or whatever, if you
Okay.
exist in, like, the world, like, it's impossible to not have any problems resultant from your existence. Like,
Okay,
if you
so
right,
when you say that they are responsible, what is the point in making that delineation that they have this responsibility?
in terms of the chips, or in
Yeah,
terms of,
like what does
computer?
this like normally when we say like you're responsible or condemnable or whatever, like we're saying this is a behavior that we condemn so that you do it less. But when we
Oh
say,
yeah, I have
oh,
no condemnation.
we're
for
just
a person.
condemnable for this action that we're obviously going to continue doing and we're obviously going to continue using our computers, the responsibility and the condemnation start to have no meaning. And so I'm wanting to understand, like, what is
yeah.
the point in having responsibility there?
I have no condemnation for a person purchasing a phone. I have very little condemnation of a person purchasing a phone for the exact same price as another phone, even if they knew that one of those phones is and one of those phones is not responsible for some micro component of these issues of these mineral mines in sub-Saharan Africa. Even if they were exactly the same price. Certainly, if one is more expensive and the other is not, you have no obligations there. The only reason I bring it up, and I actually don't even think I was the one who did bring it up, but if the only reason I think it's like worth thinking about is because, like, yeah, there exists obviously some degree of all of these things, like, and it's not just in that, but like there's a whole host of different ways that just like operating in the world, there are tiny things, tiny infractions that we're always going to be guilty of, regardless of what we choose to do. None of us are perfect.
See, you're doing it again though. So I'm trying to pull us back
Okay.
to the original point, but when
Thank
you
you.
say guilty of,
Mhm.
you're saying like there is some responsibility and condemnation here. And I'm trying to ask, what does that condemnation get us? Because the
Nothing.
entire
I'm not
point.
making a condemnation there.
Well, so but what is the responsibility then?
In terms of the computers,
Yeah,
I'm
because
just
like I
trying to,
brought
like,
the
push
phones
off
up
one
because you
point,
said you
and I'm not
condemn
getting
someone that watches porn, and like a phone, if it has a rechargeable battery, the chance it's like 90% chance that kids died getting the lithium for your batteries.
Sure.
And then you said there was a tiny chance that someone watching porn, the porn could be someone being abused. So why is the phone not as condemnable as the other thing? It doesn't make sense to me.
I think that you are under the impression that I'm condemning
And
watching
then,
porn a lot more than I am.
well, that's the thing right there. Like, what's the level? What makes it
I
it
think
so
that both
much
of
more?
Both of those are in the category of things that, like, they're like, oh, but there's nothing more than that we should feel. If you want to watch porn, you should watch porn.
But are you potentially an abuser?
You are potentially perpetuating a system of abuse, but no, you're not an abuser.
Okay.
Perpetuating a system of abuse doesn't make you an abuser, right?
Okay. And same with the phone thing you're saying?
Yeah, you're perpetuating a system of abuse. But you're not guilty of abuse.
But that's okay.
In both cases, I don't know what you mean by it's okay. Like, I'm not going to condemn you for it.
Okay.
I'm going to do it myself. Do I think that a perfect saint would engage in that behavior? Probably not. But also none of us are perfect saints. And I'm not upset by someone either watching porn or buying a computer.
Okay,
Right?
so this came from the conversation about prostitution. So
Yeah. So if you're
sounds
if you're
like he's saying there's like a level of separation from the actual abuse happening and then
Right.
your interaction with that system.
Sure.
And so he's trying to understand, where do you become culpatory for these interactions?
certainly if you're having sex with a person who doesn't want to have sex with you, then you are guilty of abuse.
But
So
what if you don't know that?
that's different.
Like, because
Sorry?
you just said not like we completely understand that there's plenty of escorts that don't have no pimps or nothing like that. They do it. They fuck dudes for money. There's girls that'll do it with guys they know and not do it all the time. So I'm saying, so how do you know he's an abuser?
What do you mean, how do I know that he's an abuser? I don't know that he's an abuser.
Okay, so
think
then
that
why can
there's
you
a-
say
there's
he
enough
is an
to prove that.
abuser? You just said if someone
saying-
has sex with
saying,
someone that they
yeah.
could potentially not
saying,
want it,
as a
if there's a
category-
potential there, he's an abuser.
As a
So if there's
category-
a potential that your phone is killing little kids, I think you're an abuser if we're
Yeah.
going to go by that
as
logic.
a category, okay, as a category, certain types of behavior have to be categorized as unacceptable behavior because the capacity for abuse as a product of that kind of behavior is high enough that categorically that type of behavior has to be off limits. Do you grant that?
So you think
Wait,
that there's
hold on. Do you grant that? Just as a yes or no. Do you grant that?
not the way you're saying it though, because you're saying, so what you're
There's
telling me
nothing that
that
should be off limits as a category?
wait a minute. So do you not understand that a lot of women escort themselves?
I don't know what you mean by a lot of women, but you're not answering the question.
Do women escort themselves
We
at
can
all?
get to that.
Just get that.
The
Do
question
any
about-
women
The
escort
question about
themselves? Do any
prostitution, which, by
women
the way, has
escort
nothing
themselves?
to do with the conversation at hand.
Yes, it does.
question- the
Yes,
question-
it does. Do escorts
Prostitution.
escort
We're talking
themselves
about
sometimes?
casting couches.
Yeah, it's the same thing
Can you
though.
answer my question first? Can you answer my question?
Okay, ask it again. Sorry. Go ahead. Ask it
Fine.
again. Go
The
ahead.
question is very simple. Is there certain kinds of behavior where the capacity for abuse as a product of that kind of behavior being engaged in is high enough that even if it is possible for that kind of behavior not to be abusive, it's such a high potential for abuse that we have to be able to condemn the behavior itself as a system in order to ensure that the writ large problem of abuse as a product of that kind of situation doesn't happen.
So, okay. I'm trying to think of how to answer this. So you think you're asking if there's a certain level of potential abuse, then we should condemn that action. Is that what you're saying?
I'm asking, are there I'm not asking about an individual situation. I'm asking about a system
Yes.
which says this type of behavior,
Yes.
right? Where I don't know the specifics of this behavior,
Yes.
but this type of behavior, I have to be able to condemn. Yes, that is something you can do. You agree?
No, because then we would have to condemn people using phones. We would have to condemn people using.
No.
Yes, you just said the level of potential.
Stop.
You just said
Okay,
the level
you're
of
not understanding.
potential. Why is it?
I'll give you an
It's the
example.
same thing.
I'll give you an example. here's an example. Okay. I see someone punch a woman on the street. Okay. Yeah. It's a 6-foot man, and he punches a 5-foot woman on the street. Okay. Yeah. I see that. Mm-hmm. Okay. My response is going to be to presume that he is guilty of abuse. And as a system, as a product of the fact that that is the assumption that I have, I will probably run up to him. I will probably try to stop him. I will probably call the police, blah, 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 blah. Right? Now, it's possible that this is just like, they're really kinky, and this is just BDSM, and she likes it. That's possible. But I have to operate with the assumption, because it is so likely that this is abuse, I have to assume and operate with the assumption that it is abuse, because the capacity for it to be abuse is very high. Are you comfortable condemning the guy from punching this woman on the street, even if you don't know the specifics?
Yes, I am comfortable with condemn. Wait. Cool. Just the same way that I would condemn the way we get lithium for our rechargeable batteries. This is what you're not understanding. No, wait. This is what you're not understanding, okay? When you say abuse, I don't believe in this level of abuse bullshit. If I can't apply it to any situation, it's not abuse. This is the problem. You can't just change definitions of shit. There's definitions for a reason. It's not based off how you fucking feel. Feelings are reactions to an event. So if later now you're gonna tell me you
yeah.
Okay, you know that, right? Feelings are a reaction to an event. So you can't use the way people feel in a situation to say that the other person is something. So I can't say, I feel like that person would be an abuser for doing that. You have to present the facts for that. You can't just feel like...
Hold on. Let me... Okay. SpeakeaZy. If you go to Epstein's Island.
If I go to Epstein's Island, fuck no. But
yes, go ahead. And you have sex with one of the girls. You didn't gather those girls. You didn't coerce them. You didn't put them into that scenario. You didn't do any of those things. Are you responsible for having sex with those girls?
For having sex with underage girls? Of course you're responsible. Sorry, are you going somewhere with it? Sorry.
The part of them being underage is that they're like coerced into these scenarios, and that like underage girls can't actually consent to this. But the consent isn't like directly through you. It's all through coercion and getting them onto this island, right? So going to this island that there is a high likelihood that you are going to engage with either, you don't even ask the age of the girls. You just know that you're going to an island that has a high likelihood of girls who are underage. Let's say you get a girl who's 18 years old and she's your age, okay? But you have sex with her. You know that by having sex with her, you are funding all of the underage sex as well. You are giving them money that will help them get other underage girls onto this island as well. Do you have any responsibility in this action by supporting the system that is abusing these young girls?
So I know I'm going to have sex with young women, is what you're saying? And that they were...
No, you're going to have sex with a girl that is legal, that is above 18, doesn't matter what age she is.
But I know she was coerced into it?
No, she's there of her free will. She is perfectly fine. But you're paying Epstein to have sex with this girl.
I just don't know why we're using Epstein, my guy. Your situation is I'm paying for a prostitute. That's what your situation. I don't know why we added Epstein and all this shit.
No, it's not. Because it's Epstein. Because we're saying that you paying Epstein is you funding the system that gets young girls onto this island. So there are underage girls there. You're just not having sex with them. And by you paying for the girl who is above age, you are also funding them getting more young girls onto this island, right? So you are funding the system that abuses young girls, even though you aren't directly abusing any young girls and you're not having sex with underage girls. You are paying for a girl who is going to help fund a system that will get young girls onto this island. Do you think you have done anything wrong in this scenario?
Yes, of course you've done something wrong because you know all those things behind it. And yes, you've done something wrong in that situation. Of course, like you just said, these are coerced women you're having sex with. So like that's rape. That's a whole different
not the
thing.
one that you're having sex with.
You're not
The
doing
one
the
you're
rape.
having sex with is not coerced, and she's doing it of her own volition, her own free will.
So I
She is
know of
happy to
those
be there.
things you're saying. I know of these
Mhm.
things. Oh, well then yeah, of course you shouldn't do it.
Why not?
I don't understand
You
what
aren't
you're
guilty of anything. You haven't done any rape.
What's that?
You're not guilty of rape. You're just having sex with this.
How would I actually
consenting
know?
18-year-old
How would I
girl.
actually know? You're telling me it's a person that funds
Bingo.
getting little what?
There you go. How would you actually know? Exactly.
Yeah, with that scenario.
my
But wait. That scenario is different. That scenario is way different. What are you talking about? How do you
So,
compare
okay,
the two? This
you
is someone
don't
I know
know.
they do this
You
shit, and
can't
then you're asking me if
know.
I would participate
Yeah,
in that shit.
So the
Obviously,
fact
I
is-
wouldn't.
The fact is, maybe it's not rape, but you can't know if it's rape.
Okay.
And therefore, if you can't know that it's not rape, you need to operate under the assumption that it would be rape.
Wait. So you have to operate under the assumption that it would be rape if you can't
If
know.
you can't know that it's not rape, you have to operate under the assumption that it is rape. Of course.
No, because you added all that other shit behind it. You can't add a bunch of nuance. But you know he has an island and he does all these little girl blah 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 blah. You can't add all in all that other shit and then say, well, that see, it's just the
Point of that
rape
is
we're talking
build
about.
situation.
No, listen.
build a
When I
situation-
said the phone thing, you don't accept that. But literally, you're when you go pay for your Apple phone, you know that
It's to
kids
build a
died
situation.
mining this. Okay, kids died
It's not like I'm
mining
killing
this.
the kid.
What?
My responsibility for the mine is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a single day's labor.
Okay.
So, like, yeah, I'm responsible for something bad, but at a tiny level. But the difference is that if I'm a component of this system where little girls are getting raped, and I don't even know if I'm the one raping a little girl, I'm guilty of something. So you shouldn't be having sex with a person on Epstein's island,
Okay.
because the answer is, even if it's not rape, you are perpetuating a system of rape to a degree where you can't know whether or not you are a rapist. And if you can't know if your behavior is rape, you have to operate over this with the assumption that it would be.
Okay, in the scenario that you gave, because you know all the other shit behind it, of course, yes, that makes lots of
Cool.
sense. Okay,
So
so
back to the question of the punching on the street.
Well, no. Let's not. Let's take this back to Destiny.
yeah, that's
in
where I
a
was just
scenario
yeah.
with a girl.
Now
that's fine.
I wanted to know because like Epstein, that's where we were mentioned just now. So I just want to know where. Let's go through Destiny's shit. Because
Sure.
I heard you
So
think
if
he's
I'm
doing
having
everything
sex-
wrong. So like, I'd love to
Sure.
see this.
So-
I'd love to see this
Sure.
one.
So if I'm having sex with a person who relies on me for a large proportion of their income, I can't know that they're not having sex with me because they're trying to maintain their income. Right?
This is a consenting adult you're talking about. You can't know that. You can't read their mind. Of course you can't read their mind. Yes, this is normal. Everybody on earth
So this
knows
is a
that.
woman. Okay, so this is a woman who is potentially having sex with me because they are trying to ensure that they maintain their income.
Wait, sorry, say that again?
This is a woman. If I'm having sex with a woman who is on my stream regularly, and my stream represents a large proportion of her income, and I have sex with her, I can't know that she's not having sex with me in order to protect her income.
It's not your responsibility if she's having that sex with you for that reason or not.
Why is it my responsibility at
It's-
Epstein Island, but not my responsibility here?
Because on Epstein Island, you know all that background shit that you just mentioned. There's little kids being
Yeah, I
raped,
know the
and you're
background shit.
you're
So-
paying
so the
into
background
that.
shit that I
If
know
two
here-
people are consenting adults, it
So-
doesn't fucking matter why
the
they're
back-
doing it. Why do you think celebrity?
background
Why do you
shit I
think
know here-
rappers get famous? When people get rap
Okay.
and they do put all the bling on and shit, why do you think they do that?
Okay.
To not fuck
The
women?
background shit-
Is all the women they fuck
background shit-
wrong?
Okay. Can I just like give the background shit that I know? You're gonna
Sure.
interrupt again.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
The background shit that I know is that this is a woman who gets 70% of her income as a product of her relationship to my stream. That's background that I know. The background shit that I know is that she is fully aware, and I'm fully aware, that I have had sex with a large number of other people who have been on my stream in addition prior to this engagement that I'm having with her. The background shit that I know and that she knows is that I have a history of having people come in and out of being regulars on my show very frequently, and that people are cease to be on my show as regulars for a whole host of reasons, only some of which end up getting public. And the background shit that she knows is that there is a long laundry list of people who, for whatever reason, used to be on her on this guy's show very frequently, and no longer are on that show frequently. Many of whom used to have sex with him, and many of whom no longer do. That is the background that I know and that she knows.
Okay.
Okay. So given that that is her background going into this conversation,
Yeah.
and she isn't aware, can't be aware of whether or not prior sexual encounters and the end of those prior sexual encounters is the reason that those people are no longer allowed on stream.
That she
How can
Oh,
you
so-
know that she's not having sex with you in order to maintain her position on stream?
How can you know? Okay, well, you can't know anything that's in somebody's mind, but this is a grown adult that chose to have her money or income or whatever reliant off a man that she sleeps with. Not even dating, not even together, sleeping with. So you want me to feel bad and think that the woman that chose to do this shit is being abused? That sounds insane to me. Like,
Do you
don't
think
you?
that, wait, hold up. Do you think that sex is the same as like other kinds of work?
Do I think sex is? Wait a minute. Was sex work?
Yeah. Do you think sex is work?
Wait a minute. Wait. Well, I don't understand why you're.
It's a very simple question. Do you think sex is work? Yes or
Do
no?
I think sex is work? I guess if you're getting paid for sex, it would be considered some type of work, maybe.
Do you think that it is?
Like
Do you
it's,
think that it is
it's a- and
materially different?
Go ahead. What?
Do you think that it's materially different to get paid to have sex for money, or to get paid to, I don't know, plunge a toilet? Any number of other kinds of work that are unpleasant, perhaps, but aren't sex.
Do I think it's materially different?
Yeah.
I don't think that matters. That it's different. Of course, it's different. Plumbing to having sex
I'm
for
asking,
money.
no, I'm asking not whether or not it's different in degree. I'm asking, is it different in kind? Do you think sex is different than other kinds of work?
Yes, every work is different from each other. So
Stop. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, is it different in kind?
I just answered that. Yes. Wait, I don't get what you're saying.
No, you're not answering if you think it's different in kind. Like, obviously, every single type of work is different. Obviously, it is different to be a fry cook. Obviously, it is different to be a waitress. But they're not different in kind, right? Being a waitress is a type of work, and doing someone's laundry is a type of work. And sex, I'd argue, is a fundamentally different thing than those other two things that I just mentioned. Yes?
Yep. Okay.
Fundamentally different, like different in kind.
Yeah. Okay. I just said this, dude.
So yes, it is different in kind. Okay, cool. I would argue that if I have a job where I am, doing construction, and my boss says, "Hey, can you plunge this toilet? Can you deal with whatever it is? Someone threw up on the front lawn. Can you clean that up?" That's unpleasant, but it is not the same as my boss coming to me and saying, "Hey, can I have a quickie?" They're both unpleasant to give someone a quickie, and also to clean up throw up.
And one
they're
you can completely
materially
say no to, and the first one that you said, the plunging thing, if that's your job, you have to do it. I don't. This
No, my point is-
comparison
no,
you're trying to
I'm
make is
saying
horrible right
in my
now.
job description,
And they're
I'm
gonna say,
saying
if
in
my boss
job,
says to have sex with me, it's of course different.
in my, okay.
That's not your
in
job.
my job description, it does not include quickies, and in my job description, it does not include cleaning up the throw up on the front lawn.
Okay, then you can say
However-
no to both of them.
Okay. However, the request of clean up the throw up is not an inappropriate request. but the request for a blowjob is an inappropriate request.
If you went up to anybody on any fucking plane that wasn't your significant other and said, "Can I have a blowjob?" You couldn't do that either. It's the same fucking thing.
Right. But
It's
if
the
I
same
go up
thing
to a
about power,
stranger-
no power. This is
Okay.
something. This is empty.
If I
What
go
you're
up to
saying
a
right now.
stranger, if I go up to a stranger on the street and I say, "Hey, can you help me clean up this throw up? There was someone who just threw up." I don't think that's an inappropriate request. They might say no, but it's not an inappropriate request.
Is a random person to come ask me to clean up their shit? What?
No, I'm saying if I'm at a party,
Yeah.
right, and the party is getting rowdy, and someone throws up, I might go up to a stranger and say, "Hey, can you help me clean up this throw up?" Right? The complete stranger. That's, I think, a perfectly reasonable request. For me to walk up to someone.
That's a reasonable request to ask
Reasonable
someone that you
request
don't
as in-
know.
Reasonable request, as in not something that is morally condemnable to ask someone of.
Okay.
Whereas going up to your employee and saying, "Hey, give me a blowjob,"
Yeah.
is materially different.
Okay.
You agree with this? It's
I-
materially different.
They're different. Yes. To ask for a blowjob is
Not
much
just different, materially different.
Oh my
Different in kind.
god. I don't know why if I'm
Every single request is a different request. I'm asking, is it different in kind?
Yes, it's
You
a
have
different
to.
kind.
You need to explain the categorization that is separating this.
Yeah, like this it's
quibbles, because
Yeah, I
obviously
think that sex is different than other kinds of work.
yes, you
I
need to
don't think that
explain
sex-
the aspect that is separating this categorically.
yeah, like
I don't think
is a teacher like a doctor? Are they materially different?
What?
A teacher and a doctor, are they materially different?
No.
They're not? They're the same? They're the same kind?
Again, it's going to
They're the same
depend on
kind of
what the
work.
categorization is that we're talking
That's
about.
what
So
I'm
when you say
asking.
in
Yeah.
kind,
This
Yeah,
this
yeah,
we
that's
can't
what
just
he's
say they're
asking.
different and I'm gonna say,
That's
of
what
course I'm gonna say,
Okay.
yeah.
Hold up.
yes,
Your question
quibbles. I
of
need
is
you to
a
explain
doctor-
the categorization,
What-
the
Yeah.
difference that makes it categorized differently.
That sex is different, and sex isn't work.
Oh my
No, stop saying it's different.
bro.
Tell me the aspect.
Sex
is
isn't work.
different.
Prostitutes was one of the
Categorized
first
different.
jobs, my guy. What are you talking about? Sex isn't work.
Okay, so you just don't believe in like workplace harassment.
I don't
No,
believe in workplace
Quibbles,
harassment.
Stop. Hold on. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Quibbles. You have to.
You just think that like
explain
asking asking an
aspect.
employee for sex is like
Quibbles.
fine.
Yo,
Quibbles, stop.
yo, chat.
Stop,
Please
stop,
tell me
stop,
you
stop,
fucking
stop,
saw
stop. Yo, stop. Hold on. Everybody stop. Quibbles, you have to explain the aspect that separates this. You can
I don't
look
think
at
I can
in
explain
any sort of
why.
categorical difference, but
Yeah, I don't
obviously
think-
the categories that he's talking about are different than the ones that you're talking about. You need to
Yeah.
focus on the one
I don't
that
think
you're
I can
talking.
explain why sex is different than stuff that isn't sex. I think that is just
so.
a,
Wait,
like,
so
thing
your idea is
that
one
has to be
category is
accepted, obviously.
every occupation known to man, and then the other category is sex work. Is that how you're saying it right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, sex work is different than every other fucking work. You just said nothing, bro. Come on, see, aren't you understanding what he's telling you? What kind of work
Okay,
is
no,
sex that
so
makes?
you just agree.
Wait,
Okay,
he's
so
asking
do
you
you
to
think-
agree to that though, and now it sounds like you're agreeing. So what?
Yeah,
like,
the same
okay,
way
so-
doctors, surgeons, they're the same. They're different than almost every other fucking.
not
Okay,
what I'm
hold on,
saying.
hold on. Let me delineate this some. Okay, so one aspect is like generally you can get pressured into doing a job. We would not say it's okay to get pressured into having sex. We would say it's okay to pay somebody to do a job. We would not say it's okay to pay somebody to do sex. We would say you can negotiate somebody into doing a job. You cannot negotiate somebody into having sex. So there's like some aspects that we can obviously look at and say, okay, we're going to categorize sex a bit differently because of the type of consent that's necessary for sex. It's going to be different than the type of consent that's necessary for work. I think that's the delineation that he's trying to make.
It's a different type of consent. Okay, sure, I'll agree with this. With an employee at a workplace, yeah, of course, especially if you're like a boss of that employee and they have no other, like, yeah, they can't, like, but like, especially like if a boss did that, you know, they get in trouble, right? Like that's what HR.
That's his point. Yes,
That's
that
my
is
point.
his.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So getting a boss in trouble for asking for a blowy is reasonable. Getting a boss in trouble for asking me to clean up throw up is not reasonable, right?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, even though both of them aren't in the job description. Cool. Okay, so Steven, as someone who has a position of power, financial power over other people, it's perfectly reasonable for him to be like, hey, Tom, I don't really feel like putting together this panel. Can you put together this panel? Tom says, yeah, I'll put together this panel. That's obviously Steven wielding his power. That's obviously Steven asking for Tom to do something for him. But it's a perfectly reasonable thing for him to ask Tom to do. Right?
Okay, yeah, sure.
His point.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So getting a boss in trouble for asking for a blowy is reasonable. Getting a boss in trouble for asking me to clean up throw up is not reasonable. Right?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, even though both of them aren't in the job description. Cool. Okay, so Steven, as someone who has a position of power, financial power over other people, it's perfectly reasonable for him to be like, hey, Tom, I don't really feel like putting together this panel. Can you put together this panel? And Tom says, yeah, I'll put together this panel. That's obviously Steven wielding his power. That's obviously Steven asking for Tom to do something for him. But it's a perfectly reasonable thing for him to ask Tom to do. It's not reasonable for him to ask Tom, as a prerequisite to coming onto the show, to suck his dick. Those are different.
Oh, so just to be clear then, so Destiny told someone, if you suck my dick, you can come on the show?
That's not what I'm saying.
I think
okay.
right now he's just trying to delineate the two.
Okay,
I'm saying if he did, it would be inappropriate to ask. Whereas if he did ask Tom to put together a panel as a prerequisite to coming on the show, that would be perfectly reasonable for him to ask of Tom.
Yes, if he directly said those things, for sure. Yeah, that's like you can't
Cool.
like that's
okay. Awesome.
that's
So
okay.
if we grant that it is wrong, if it is an explicit thing, right? In the same case as the Epstein Island, it's wrong to rape someone, and it's also wrong not to directly rape someone that you know of, but to intentionally build in a level of plausible deniability because you are putting yourself in a position where the potential for it to be rape is so high that you must operate as though it is rape. Similarly, for Steven to be having sex with people who are consistently coming on his show, whose careers he is building, he is indistinguishable in having that kind of sexual engagement with a person who is a regular on his show, as though he were simply saying, as a prerequisite to coming on my show, you must have sex with me. Those are indistinguishable.
Those are so you think it's the same thing as him saying that?
I think it is indistinguishable from the perspective of the person who is having sex with him, because there is no way for them to know that it isn't being treated as a prerequisite.
And so Steven is abusing his power by having sex with them, is what you're trying to say?
By having sex with a person who is a regular on his show, and in a way that it is impossible for them to know whether or not the sex is a prerequisite. Yes, I think that is wrong.
No, it's not wrong, because they simply have to make their own choice.
Asking for a blowy directly is wrong. Getting blowies isn't wrong when
it's two consenting adults. Yeah. Yeah. Listen to me. Listen. Okay, wait a minute. So now when you're going to go back to the work situation, now you have to add in the features that are like Destiny. So this person that he's at work with, he's been talking to for a very fucking long time. They've talked out of work too, the boss and this employee. They've talked out of work too. They've been sending him messages for a long time. Then he asks for a fucking blowjob. That's not wrong. So what you're saying is not the same fucking thing. It's not the same thing at all. And another thing, they're both consenting adults. So why the fuck does it matter where they were?
Consenting adults. It's nonsense. You know it's nonsense.
How the fuck is that nonsense?
Is complete bullshit. Yeah, it is. When I give a blowjob to my boss because my boss says, "Hey, give me a blowjob or you're fired,"
That's not what's
consent.
being said, man. You can't just use that. That's
No,
nothing to
my
do
point
with
is- my point is
destiny.
Your
Well,
constant
no, hold on,
appeal-
hold on, hold
your
on, hold on,
constant
hold
appeal
on.
to
Wait, wait, wait.
consent is
Hold on.
complete bullshit, and you know it.
Hold on. Okay, so if he's arguing that that there are aspects that would make the consent no longer matter, for you to keep saying but they are consenting adults means that you're not actually disagreeing with what he says, right? So if I explain to you this is why I should be allowed to have sex with children, and you just say but children can't consent, you're not disagreeing with my reasoning for why I can have sex with children. You're just stating something that you think is true. So if he's saying this is why they can't consent, and you say but they are consenting adults, that doesn't really disagree with what he's saying, right?
Well, it does though in a way, because I'm saying like what you saying that they think they can't consent because it has something to do with this is the life and path they chose. They chose to go down that path. Okay? Like
so why is that path different from another employer relationship where they are going to make more money from Steven and being with Steven and those sorts of things? That's what he's trying to get you to explain, is he's saying it's a lot closer to an employer relationship because they have a money incentive to say yes to him, just as an employee would feel uncomfortable saying no because they might lose their job. Same as a streamer who would say no, they're going to lose money from it.
Okay, and that still comes down to your own choice though. Why, like, if you feel like you can't say no, that isn't equal you can't say no. That this is not the same. If I hold a girl down and physically do something to her, she had no choice there. If I tell a girl I want to sleep with her, she comes sleep with me and I never talk to her again, that was her choice to choose to sleep with me. This is not this. What you're saying here is not the same, dude.
Okay, I have a
It's
question.
based off feelings.
Okay, so I am 6'1".
Yep.
This is a knife. This is I do construction, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
carry a knife with me. Sometimes I play with this knife, right? Sometimes I just go like this, and I just like open it up, and I'll play with the knife and whatever. Okay. If I'm alone and I'm playing with this knife, I think it's perfectly reasonable. I think it's totally fine. Let's say that it's 2:00 in the morning. I'm on the way home from work, and I smell like joint compound. I'm covered in joint compound, and I am at a bus stop, and it's 2:00 in the morning, and I'm near the bars, and there's a woman who's there alone with me, and she's also waiting for the bus, and I start playing with my knife, right? And I'm playing with the knife, and I'm looking directly at her while playing with the knife. Do you think that there's something being implied there?
Do I think that there's something being implied there?
Yeah.
Do you think there's any way people were doing that without implying something is a better question. Just think about what you just said. Would you do that without implying something?
The answer is I sometimes do when I'm sitting there alone.
You stare at people and play with your knife. You stare people in their eyes and play with their knife.
Staring at a person because there's no one to stare
that was part of what you just fucking said. So you can't just change it. You move the bar every time I try to.
No. He's asking you a question. He's saying sometimes I can play with my knife and there's no implication because I'm just playing with my knife. And so it's not necessarily an implication just by playing with a knife. But if I'm sitting and staring at somebody, now I've changed the context to where now it seems like there's an implication. Even though he could just be playing with his knife, most people would interpret this as an implication. And it sounds like you agree with that. That, like, obviously, yes,
you agree that's an implication.
Agree.
Well, yeah, because unless you can name it, like, of course you're implying something when you're staring someone in their eyes with a knife in your hands.
Awesome.
That's physical. That's in person.
That's what he's saying.
Okay, so there's something being implied.
So where does this relate?
So if I am a person in a position of power over someone's financial future, and I am there, let's say that they've come over to stream with me. They're doing an in-person stream with me, and this is the first time that they've ever done a stream in front of 17,000 people. But they're going to be in front of 17,000 people, and they are trying desperately to make it in this career, and they know full well that this is a person who has already made it in this career and is massively successful. And you're sitting alone in a room with a person after having just turned off the chat, just turned off the stream in front of 17,000 people. And the person says, "Hey, do you want to have sex with me?"
Have they been talking already? Have they been talking already before this at all?
They've had a
know. Are they strangers or are they actually like people that are close?
They're not strangers. They've had a streaming relationship.
And it's a female to a male?
They've had a streaming relationship.
Yeah. So like...
Yeah, they've had a streaming relationship.
Yes.
They've had a professional relationship.
Yeah.
They've had a professional relationship.
Never flirted at all?
No, they flirted. You sure? They've been on stream together.
Yeah, okay.
And they flirted together.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, like I've flirted with like Brittany from Politically Provoked.
Wait though.
Right? I don't think that we've never actually done anything more than that, and we don't have a relationship that extends beyond streaming.
Okay, that's your relationship. Right? That's your guys' relationship.
Okay.
We're talking about.
So it's a professional. So my point is, like, you can flirt with someone on stream and still have an exclusively.
What about behind closed doors too? You guys flirt behind closed doors?
No, I've never spoken to her.
No, I'm talking about the other situation. Yeah. Do they flirt behind closed doors too, or only on stream? And they've agreed, they have like a mutual agreement written out somewhere that this is just for on show.
So let's take it piece by piece. Let's start with they've never had an interaction beyond like planning how they were going to do this stream in person, and like maybe he bought her a ticket, an airplane ticket to go across state lines to get here.
Okay.
And maybe this is the only place that she's going to sleep there tonight.
Okay, so they're close enough for that person to accept a plane ticket and come sleep over at this person's house. So at that point, they're close enough, and it's the opposite sex. So they're not flirting though at this point still.
Which people do at Tim Pool's show, right? People do that for Dave Rubin's show. People do that for Joe Rogan's show.
Joe Rogan, a married man, Dave Rubin, a gay married man. Yeah. These are different situations than you're talking about right now. You just said that the girl knows that this guy sleeps with a lot of girls. See, you have to look at the whole context. I'm not going to just say piece by piece. Okay, what if she does it? Say the whole thing. Like, what do you think? What exactly did Destiny do that's abuse? That's what. In what situation was Destiny abusing his power?
You shut the computer. The 17,000 people are gone.
Yeah.
Now you are alone in a different city than your own.
Okay.
Alone with a physically stronger man who is not just physically stronger, but also has massive social power that you do not have. And you're alone in a room with him.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an implication?
Bro, you think wait, hold on. You think asking someone for sex is the same type of implication as holding a knife staring at someone? Yours is a threat of fucking violence. The other one is a fucking question that she could have got up and just walked. If she got there, she can get home. This is so crazy. No, there's an implication. Who gives a fuck? There's an implication that let's have sex. That's the only implication. That's the only implication is let's have sex.
No, it's not just about sex.
Yes, it is, man.
This is sex directly following
a stream. Who gives a fuck? If that doesn't mean anything.
No. Clearly, she gives a fuck because clearly.
So what? She thought she couldn't say no, and she said yes because she wanted to get more streamers.
It's not that she thinks. It's not that she thinks that she literally can't say no. That she's literally going to get raped.
She thinks if she says yes, she'll get more streamers, right? So you want me to think the girl that plotted to get more streamers using her pussy, I should think she was abused? Are you insane, bro? Come on, think about what you're saying when you say it.
If someone is unable to say no without putting the career trajectory at risk, that is not a real yes.
Implication that you want to have sex is not implication that if you don't have sex, you're never coming on stream again. Isn't there a girl that he brought on stream after that she rejected him? There was another girl, right, that rejected him and he brought her on stream still. Who was that one again? What one was that? You know their names better. I know the faces, but There was a girl that Destiny's rejected or got rejected by, sorry, and still brought her on stream. So why would she imply that part? She just implied that
I
she
think
can't
there
say
are
no all up in her own
implications.
head, obviously.
Whether or not Harvey Weinstein has had sex with every single girl that has ever starred in any single one of his movies, if the if the person who is responsible for putting together the money for your multi-million-dollar movie
That you're not already
is
in, that you want a
asking
chance to
you
be
for
in.
sex, is asking you for sex, there is an implication.
Listen, if Harvey Weinstein asked one of those chicks for sex after they were already in the movie and had the big role, you wouldn't be able to say nothing. So when Destiny already wait. But Destiny already had her on the stream.
Yeah, but it's
So why are you okay? Why is the
Yeah.
difference? It's the same
So-
exact thing, dude.
Yeah.
There's no abuse
it's
there.
not.
There's no abuse there.
There is abuse there.
No, you have to explain
Because-
what implies that
Yes,
you're
that's
gonna
what I'm trying to do,
lose
but
your
you
whole
keep
income.
interrupting. I'm trying to explain, but you keep interrupting. The answer is that she's not just concerned about having been on stream once. She wants to be on stream going forward. She wants to maintain this relationship and build this relationship into something further so that she can build up her career over a period of multiple streams.
And what
the equivalent
implies
would
that
be-
she can't unless she has sex
So
with him?
The equivalent would be that Harvey Weinstein is the leader of Miramax. I think it was Miramax, whoever it was. And he is therefore able not just to put together this movie, but to put together a great number of movies going forward. And the effect of saying no to Harvey in the situation is likely to be that Harvey is going to change his view on you, and Harvey is going to be unlikely to allow you to star in future films.
Cool. Can I get into any films whatsoever just by sitting behind my computer and talking to it? Can I? Is that how
Of
you
course,
get into
but
any
I think
movies?
there's a difference in kind. I think there's a
No.
difference in kind. between- I'm trying to answer.
You're
I can't
comparing
go on
Harvey
Steven-
Weinstein's thing to
I'm
him,
trying
but
to
it's
answer.
way different.
I'm trying to answer.
There's
I
nothing
think
that implies that. I just want to know the
I
answer
think
to
that
that part.
Tom
What
has
implies
put
that she
in-
wouldn't get more?
I think that Tom has put in a whole host of work in order to put himself in a position where he is useful to Stephen professionally. He's putting together a bunch of streams that are high quality content consistently. He's consistently on time for a long time. He's consistently blah, 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 in order to make sure that he's the kind of person that someone like Stephen is going to want to have on his show. And so therefore, rewarding that behavior is perfectly reasonable. I've never been on Stephen's show. Tom is a regular on
Is
Stephen's
Tom
show.
having sex with
That's
Destiny?
great.
Is Tom
That's
having
my
sex
point.
with Destiny?
That's my point. Tom
Wait.
isn't.
Okay, right. And he's
And
still
that's
been
my
on
point.
Destiny's show, right?
Hold on. That's my point.
No.
There's a
This is my
difference in
point.
kind.
Has he still been on
No, it's
Destiny's
not.
show? You
There's
don't
a
answer
difference
anything. You
in
just
kind.
keep dancing around everything I'm
Jesus
asking
Christ.
you. Has he been
Harvey
on Destiny's
Weinstein
show?
didn't have sex. Yeah, the answer is that there are people who are on his show
That don't have sex with
Similarly,
him.
there are
So
people who
what
similarly,
implies
there are
that
people who have
sex
been on
keeps
Harvey
you on the
Weinstein's
show?
movies.
Can you
There have
explain
been
that
people
one
in Harvey
answer?
Weinstein's movies.
I'm
There are
not
people in
talking about Harvey
Weinstein's
Weinstein
movies
right now, bro. We're talking about
that
Destiny.
haven't had sex
Come on,
with
bro.
him. Okay, there are people who have been on Stephen's show that haven't had sex with him. There are people who have been in Miramax films that didn't have sex with Harvey. It is nonetheless a problem for that to be a prerequisite for anyone who is getting into Miramax shows. For anyone who is going on stream with Stephen.
Would that mean it's for anyone? No, it
What?
wouldn't mean that. What are you talking about right now, man?
I'm saying if there is a single person who has reasonable fear that if they don't have sex with Harvey, they will not be able to get into the movie,
Then they
that is
shouldn't-
a bad thing.
Whereas,
if
so
there
if
is-
someone feels
if
like
there
they
is
have a
something-
certain choice, it's a bad thing on the person that made them feel this way. That is in fucking insane. Then that means you're a
Because
bad
sex
person, bro.
is
You're a
different
bad person.
than
You're a
putting
bad
together
person.
a panel.
You've made people feel in
Okay,
ways
hold
they
on.
didn't want to feel. You're a
Sex
bad
is
person.
different.
That's
Hold on.
insane.
Hold
Come
on.
on.
Wait. Hold on. Wait. Okay. SpeakeaZy.
Yeah.
Last time you were on, you said it's wrong to try to pressure a girl into having sex with you, right?
Yeah.
You said that's
To
obvious.
sit
like,
there
if you're sitting
over
there
and
telling
over
me-
and go, yeah, suck my dick. Yeah, that,
Right.
yeah. Yeah,
Right.
like
Okay,
literal
and the
pressure.
reason that-
Literal pressure. That's
Well,
literal
so
pressure.
when you say the pressure is the thing that we're talking about, not the words that you're saying, but the pressure that's applied. So he's saying in these scenarios, there is pressure that is applied, and that pressure is the thing that makes it to where you don't know whether or not they are actually consenting without the pressure.
Okay, but that pressure is in their own head. That pressure is based off feelings.
It's in their own head.
It's a different. It's not.
Well,
like,
it's the same in the other scenario. If I keep saying "suck my dick," come on, just suck my dick. That's not actual pressure. You're getting pressure from the words that I'm saying.
You don't think that's not the same? You think that's not the same?
I would say that the words that I'm saying, you have to interpret them in the way that you feel them, and you're feeling it as pressure, even though it's just words that I'm saying. I could say, well, I wasn't really trying to imply pressure. I was just telling them that I really wanted them to suck my dick really badly. It was going to feel really good. Like, it would have been awesome if they had just sucked my dick. We're both here. We're both ready. Like, why not just suck my dick?
So just to be clear, convincing somebody to do something they don't want to do is not pressure. Just like by what you just said there. So if I convince somebody to do something they don't want to do,
I'm not saying it's not pressure.
Okay.
I'm saying the pressure is interpreted based on the words that I'm saying. That you have to interpret pressure. You have to feel the pressure.
Okay, so what
in order
words
for the pressure to exist? And so he's telling you these people feel the pressure, therefore it exists.
Okay, what words does Destiny say? What words does Destiny say that makes people feel that pressure?
If I hold this knife and I just stare at you, I'm not saying a word. There's no words that are being used. If I close the stream and I say,
you know, holding a knife up towards someone while you're looking at them, that is literally a threat. That is literally a threat. You're physically in front of this person. If you're going to compare holding a knife up to someone to the fact that I think maybe this streamer will get me more views, that's not the same, dude. One is fearing for your life. One is fearing you won't be able to be as rich as you want to be. Like, what the fuck?
If I close... Wait, I'm sorry. Do you think that the majority of people who get jumped in public are going to get killed? This isn't implying murder.
My guy, with a knife... Have you ever been stabbed or know anybody who's been stabbed? Are you insane, dude?
This is implying I'm going to do lots of things, but it's not implying murder. The point
and
is
just the fact that wait, it implies all those things. And just the fact that Destiny has a bigger streaming platform, it implies the fact that you have to say yes to sex to him. Is that what you're saying?
It implies that you have to. When he closes the stream and says, "Hey, do you want to have sex with me?"
That's a question.
It's not implying rape.
No,
it's certainly not.
Do you want to have sex with me? So she could have just said no. What gave her the implication she couldn't?
If she said no in the situation, she wouldn't literally be raped. That's true.
Okay.
And similarly,
and then
right? If I say
wait, no. But what would happen, bro? What would happen? Why did she feel implied to have sex with him? What did he do just besides asking for sex? Asking for sex can't imply anything.
When you close the stream, there's an implication. There's an implication.
The fuck are you talking? So they were gonna have sex on screen, and there wouldn't be the implication. No, of course, you close.
There's a statement in relationship to
because of closing the screen.
Relationship to her professional future.
Now, so it's a sign language thing now because he touched the computer. It meant, your streaming days, baby. That sounds fucking insane, dog.
It's not. I'm not saying something about the literal act of closing the computer. I'm saying something about the act of having just had a stream, having just done a professional thing that benefits her career.
Cool.
And then immediately following, doing that professional career advancement.
So you know the very first thing he said before anything else, you know this, right? The very first thing, that was the very first thing he said, you know this for sure. That was the very first thing he said. Was there any conversation at all before? You know this for sure, though.
Obviously, I don't know, because obviously I wasn't in that room. No one was, except for the two of them.
And is she saying that the very first words is that?
I don't know.
You don't know. So, okay. When you
don't
sit
know,
here and
but
imply
hold on.
something like that, no, because
Hold
you
on.
just tried to make it
No.
look way worse than
You
it could
gotta let
actually
him make
be.
his arguments, Quibbles.
I don't understand
you-
why you're saying the immediate
Oh,
following words.
dude,
I don't care if
listen.
it's
You
the
just
immediate
said,
following words.
bruh.
If it happens at any point that night after she's been on stream, I think there's an implication.
No, get the fuck out of here. That's so stupid. That's so stupid. If I go pick up a chick in my Lamborghini, take her out for a nice night, and she wants to come fuck me after, is it because I implied she gets to be in my Lamborghini all the time? I implied she's gonna have the sweet life, or she just wants to fuck me because she likes the thing I have. This is what you're saying right now. It's fucking insane.
Okay, I don't think that Lambos are the same as career advancement.
Bruh,
think
you don't
that,
think a
like-
girl can think she's gonna have a sweet life off someone with fucking big flashy life?
Oh, if you're asking, hey, is
Oh.
it bad for Jeff Bezos to go move to Thailand and just surround himself with girls who are desperately impoverished, who can barely
Oh
afford
my god!
food,
Why
or
is
to
it
send
so
their kids to
far? Why do you
school?
go to the extreme? Why don't you just stick to what I said for a second?
Yeah, I think that having sex and being in fast cars that go vroom vroom, go for it. That's fine.
But you're not allowed to be famous and have sex?
No,
The
I think
fuck
being
are you
famous
talking
and having-
about?
No, I think being famous and having sex with people, that's fine.
Okay, so exactly
it's
what?
different.
But that's what you're
It's
using for
different.
her implication that she
But
couldn't say no.
No. It is
Yes,
different
yes.
when you're famous and having sex with a fan versus when you are famous and relevant in the career and you're having sex with people who are trying to become successful in that as a career.
So you think these
Those are
music
different things.
artists don't fuck the girls in their music videos or their
I
makeup
think
artists?
that
Should
they
they not
shouldn't.
be allowed to do any of that?
I think that they shouldn't. When you say should they not be
What
allowed,
the fuck,
if
dude?
you're making a legal question, no,
So
I don't think
wait
they
a
should be
minute,
dancing
wait a
on it.
minute.
But I
You
think it's
think you
morally
shouldn't be
wrong.
able to fuck people that's in the type of field you're gonna be in? If you're a streamer,
That's
you
being a
you
music
involve
streamer?
yourself with other streamers. So because they're doing the same job, you can't fuck them?
No, not across the board. Of
So-
course not. I'm
Okay, so
saying
what
from
the
a-
fuck is the
Hold on, let me
implication?
answer,
Please,
let me
bro.
answer.
Please, just
Let me
say the
answer.
implication.
answer.
You said
The
closing the
rule-
computer, that doesn't fucking matter. Nobody, that's not an implication of
rule-
nothing. Asking for sex is
There are
asking for
lots of
sex. We can ask anybody for
There are
sex,
lots of
bro.
streamers. Okay, there are lots of streamers. There are lots of musicians who don't collaborate, right? So, like, if you're early on in a relationship with another musician, and you're a musician, and you're a larger musician, you probably shouldn't have them be collaborating with you musically while simultaneously early on in a relationship. If you've been in a relationship for 3 years, obviously it's different. But if you're early on in a relationship and you're establishing one another's relationship there, you should be establishing a sexual relationship, or you should be establishing a professional relationship. You shouldn't be establishing both of those things simultaneously.
But they weren't established simultaneously. They didn't fuck on stream. Like, that
But
doesn't
they're
make
being
no
established
sense.
in the exact
Them
same
fucking
night.
had
If
nothing
the
to do with
first
her going
in-
on stream.
If this is the first in-person stream
Oh
that a
my
person is
god.
having with a massive streamer, and then the exact same night, the massive streamer says, "Hey, do you want to have sex with me?" There is a coupling of those two interactions. Those two interactions are becoming one interaction.
So if
The
I bring a
interaction
girl
is,
to my
I went to
mansion,
stream
if
with
I bring a
Steven
girl
and
to my mansion and I fuck her in my mansion and bring her home in the Lambo, is she doing that because she implying that I get to be in this mansion all the time? Am I abusive for fucking a girl in my mansion?
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Quibbles?
Yeah.
All right. Is there pressure for a girl to sleep with somebody if they have status? Do you think that that's something that
if a
incentivizes
person
them?
has status, yeah, if a person has status, and part of what they're selling, part of like sexually what they're selling, is access to that status. I think there's different kinds of status that are
No,
and
you
are not
can't say
acceptable
that. You
to
can't
sell.
say that. No, stop. You can't say that. There's no fucking thing that says if you have sex with me, you're coming on my stream. This is just bullshit. Or else all the fucking orbiters or whatever would be on there. You can't say that. Where is it selling that? Where does Destiny say if we fuck, where you get to be an orbiter? Is that in some rule book I didn't read of Destiny's?
when I say, hey,
I don't give a fuck
I
about
have
your
your
knife
dollar?
analogy. It's not the same, guy. That's violent
Could I
threats.
have your
That's
dollar?
violent threats. That's so
No,
fucking
I'm not
different.
saying anything.
Yes,
It's not
look
a
it up
violent
in the
threat.
law, my guy. If
I'm
you
not-
hold a knife
I'm
up to
not
somebody,
saying,
that's against
give
the
me
law,
your
bro.
wallet or I'll
No,
shake
you're
you.
staring
I'm
at
saying,
somebody
hey,
with a knife out.
could I have
What
your
the
dollar?
fuck are you talking about? This is not the same
I'm
as
saying,
you
hey,
thinking. No, listen. What you're saying, if you want it
could
to
I
be
have
like the
your wallet?
Destiny situation, is if you were off in the corner by yourself, holding this knife like
Regularly.
this, holding this knife like this,
Regularly.
and then
Regularly, when I'm on the street, a homeless person will say, hey, could I have a dollar?
what the fuck
But if
are
I'm
we doing
holding
now?
this knife and then I say, hey, could I have a dollar? All of a sudden, it's very different than when I'm sitting on the sidewalk.
Wait,
Asking for a dollar isn't wrong, but asking for a dollar is wrong.
oh my
Right?
god, bro. This is a literal this is a literal implication. Nobody on fucking human earth decides, oh, knife asking me for money, maybe he's a nice guy. This doesn't compare to some girl that went
Okay.
onto his stream. He closes the thing, they chat a bit, and then he says, yo, you want to fuck? And she fucks. That's
Okay.
not, there's nothing wrong with this. It's not
Okay,
the same as
SpeakeaZy.
holding a knife staring at somebody.
Okay, SpeakeaZy, do you think once they close the laptop and I say, do you want to have sex? Do you think in their head they think, if I say no, I might not be allowed back on stream? Do you think that that's a likely possibility, that somebody would think he might not like me anymore if I say no?
If they're insecure, maybe there's reasons that that's a possibility. But this is a possibility with anyone. If I go out to
For sure, but
date
we're
with
saying like if they reject them and they say no, I'm not gonna have sex, I'm rejecting you, it's likely that Destiny might not like that person.
See, why are you
anymore
saying
and
likely?
might not want to be around them.
Why are you
anymore.
saying
I'm asking
likely?
you, do you?
Oh no, it's not
Because I
likely.
think-
It's not
I
likely.
think for a lot of people, if they get rejected by a girl, it's embarrassing, and they probably don't want to be around that person.
But
anymore.
he's been rejected by a girl, and he still talked to her. So like, what do you
Sure,
mean?
the question is, do you think that is likely that somebody would not want to be around a person anymore if they were rejected by them?
To be around the person. So if they're friends, so the situation is they're friends. I'm friends with a girl. I try to get sex with her, and she denies it. Like, is it likely that I won't talk to her after her denying me sex?
Yeah, that you wouldn't want, or not even that you won't do it, but
Unless
that
you're
you
like-
wouldn't want to. That it would be uncomfortable to talk to her again afterwards.
No, that's like an insecurity and a feeling problem. That's not.
Well, sure, maybe it
That's
is.
not on-
Even if it is,
That's not on the
do you
person.
think that that's likely for people? Do you think people are likely to feel that way,
Okay, yeah.
even if it isn't?
Okay, they could feel this way, but it wouldn't be my fault.
Okay, but if you know that that's a likelihood, and you do it anyways, and so you say,
But this-
I'm gonna say no to this person, but I know it's a likelihood that they will not like me anymore, and they won't want to be around me anymore, even if it's an insecurity. You might think, okay, if I say no, and they likely won't want to be around me anymore, this might make it to where they won't invite me back on stream again, right? So you might feel some pressure in that scenario to say yes, because you feel like it's a likelihood that this will affect your wallet.
Okay, well, yeah, you can feel like it's a likelihood that it'll affect your wallet, and yeah, there's a possibility of that for sure. But again, that wouldn't make Destiny abusive for knowing that that's a possibility, because I know, so there's a possibility with any female I date that I could do bad things to her, and end her life. So, should I not date any chicks? Should I change to men now because men have a better chance fighting me if I wanted to murder them? Like, this is stupid, bro. This is stupid. We could apply this to everything. We could literally apply this to
but
everything.
There are some things that are more likely or less likely. I think that there are things that some people would find more reasonable or less reasonable. And so I think guys feeling rejected and not wanting to be around the girl, we would find that very likely that they would feel uncomfortable being around the girl who rejected them. And then if somebody said, well, I didn't want to reject them because I thought they wouldn't want to be around me anymore and not want to invite me on stream anymore,
That's the fault
we
of
would all
that
think,
person.
yeah, that makes sense.
Well, that's the fault of the person who just felt that way. It's not the
Sure, but that's just the point that he's trying to get across. It's just that they would feel some sort of pressure, even because you're saying, well, that's their fault or that's their flaw, but that's not even the point. He's not even making a point about flaws or faults. He's just saying it's a likelihood that they would feel some sort of pressure to have sex with this person.
But there's other reasons. It's not just for the streaming reason. Like there could possibly be that they're mentally unwell, so that affects them. There could be the possibility that
I think that most of us would say it's probably not right to have sex with somebody who's mentally unwell.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying if for the person that's getting accused of an abuser, right? They would have to be knowingly doing something that is they're intentionally doing it for that reason. So if he said, hey, you want to have sex? Like, if you don't, like, you're probably not coming on stream no more. Yeah, that's abuse. If he just said, do you want to have sex? No, it's not abuse. What about the possibility he could overpower her physically? You forgot about that power dynamic? Why doesn't that power dynamic care? And if you don't care about that power dynamic, then you can't care about the influence power dynamic. Because I think physical threats is way worse than fucking a mental threat of the internet. Guy, go do your own fucking stream.
Obviously, a physical threat is worse than any of the threats that we're talking about.
Exactly. And the threats that are physical actually matter. These threats of I might not be on somebody's stream, that's your fucking fault, dude.
But would you have to intend to make the physical threat in order to care about the person who feels the physical threat?
Because I haven't actually done anything by just doing that.
Right, I was going to say, with his knife, he's not actually doing anything to them. He's communicating something to them that they feel the threat, but he's not actually threatening them. He's just holding a knife. He's not actually.
Bro, can you please search up in what world that holding a knife staring at someone isn't threatening them? Please show me. Show me this.
No, that's his point. He's making the same point.
It's always threatening. It's always. Always. That's the difference. Always. That's an actual threat.
I don't have. Correct. I think that having sex with
exactly
the same night that you streamed with them is always going to be a threat.
It's always going to be a threat if you have sex with someone that was on your stream.
Asking for someone to have sex with you the same day that you just gave them a massive career advancement is always a threat.
That's insane. So with Lav too, like, you know, Lav messaged him first, sexual shit. You know that, right? You must know this.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't? So so is Lav an abuse victim still, even though she was the first one to initiate sexual talk?
I think that even if you go up to someone...
It's a yes or no. It's a yes or no, though. It's a yes or no. Is she an abuse victim?
My answer is yes.
Even though she initiated it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, your compass is out of whack, my guy. That doesn't make sense. Okay. So, like, we have no accountability on any women. So
Can I explain? There are lots of women who can be accountable. I don't think there are victims that can be accountable for the situation. Right? Lots of women can be perpetrators. Lots of women are perpetrators of a whole host of different things. Giselle Maxwell, or whatever her name is not a victim, right? So it's not a matter of like, oh, Ghislaine, sorry.
Ghislaine Maxwell isn't a victim, you said?
Ghislaine, I think that she is perhaps partially a victim, but she's also
now she's partially a victim. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I don't know if she's been raped in her life.
That doesn't mean nothing. What if he coerced her to do all these things?
That's my point. I think that regardless of even if she had been coerced, like, you can be both a victim and also a perpetrator. Oh. Most people who are perpetrators have also been victims.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So if you're asking, hey, has Lab ever made a mistake in her life? Yeah, for sure. I think she's transphobic. I think that she is I think she's made a lot of mistakes.
But, like, we're talking about with the situation with Destiny and her. Like, she initiated the sex talk. There's times where what was it? So she was saying, I don't expect anything out of this.
The answer is, Oh yeah. Also, Lou Ray's right. Also, she falsely accused a guy of rape. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely, she's made mistakes in her
So,
life.
and she's done
Absolutely.
everything
When
that
she
she's
said Hassan
claiming
had sex
Destiny's
with
done to
a
her,
minor
right?
when Hassan didn't. I'm sorry.
Everything she's claiming in that article Destiny's done to her, she's done it, right?
Not everything,
No.
because she hasn't, I think, had sex with a smaller streamer in the
Okay.
same way that he has.
So the sex, so it's
Which is
strictly the
different.
sex with Destiny. Strictly the fact that Destiny had sex with people that were smaller with him makes him an abuser. Is that like this? What we did a
No,
lot of talking,
if
but that's what it seemed like you just
the,
came down
the
to.
solution, no, the solution that I came to in my conversation with Tom was that I think that the way it should be done is that Steven should say, okay, if you've had sex with me in the last 2 months, you have to wait until 2 months after the last time we've had sex before you can come on stream. And if you've been on stream the last 2 months, you have to wait 2 months before we can have sex.
Bro, so 2 months, all of a sudden it's not abuse anymore. This doesn't. Come on, bro. Why is there a length for abuse?
2 months. All of a
What the
sudden,
fuck? So
2
2 months
all of
means
a
she doesn't have the pressure that if she says
What I'm
no.
saying, 2 months.
What if in
all
2
of a sudden,
months?
there's enough space where she has been able to or not to develop
just
a
decided that?
relationship to his stream, and if after 2 months without going on stream with him, she's still interested in him sexually, then it seems to me pretty clear that she's interested in him sexually and not just to get on stream. Because if she was interested in
She was already on stream.
That's what he's saying, is that
That's what I'm
even if she
saying.
was already on stream, she doesn't have this thought that I have to have sex with him in order to be on stream again, because she hasn't even been on stream in 2 months. So now it's likely that she's just not coming on stream anymore. So
Stream
now
is
if he
no
has
longer
sex
a-
You
with
guys
her,
know
it has
why
nothing to
Anna
do with-
originally initiated all this shit at Destiny? Do you guys remember? Let me ask you guys. Do you guys remember? What was it?
initiated what?
Like, what
Because she
initiated the
thought
shit
he was the
between...
Dark Triad.
No, but what did he do that initiated that? Do you remember that?
The Dark Triad thing?
No, he ghosted her.
Oh, you're talking about after they had been okay.
Remember that?
Yeah, that was what started the whole.
Me and you
like,
talked
abuse
about it, and
thing.
you said that ghosting's like a type of abuse. So you think if he had sex, it looks better for him, and the girl would feel better if they after they had sex. Then he says, "Oh, you know what? We've had sex. I don't want you on stream for the next 2 months." Why does that make any fucking difference
No,
on
I'm
how
saying-
long
No,
it
that's not
was?
what
that
he's
he
saying.
should have these
Well,
conversations.
That's not what he's saying.
should
Hold on.
say-
Wait, Quibbles, you're not explaining the right thing.
Okay.
He's saying that after they've had sex, they 2 months later, maybe now she can come on stream because they don't have a sexual relationship anymore, or they have or she's been on stream and now 2 months later they can have a sexual relationship. That way, neither one of these two things are being connected. The sexual relationship is never being connected to the streaming career, and they never feel pressure from one to the other.
Okay, but then again, you're just going to how she feels it's gonna be to how the reality is. Like, this is what I'm saying. You can't.
I don't know. Hold up. Can you explain the difference between the way that she's being made to feel and the reality of the situation?
The way she's being made to feel and the reality of the situation.
Yeah. What's the difference there? What's the difference there?
Okay, the reality of the situation is an adult streamer that has a big following had a girl that liked him come be on his stream, liked him enough to plane ticket, sleep at his house, all this shit. Okay? Wasn't she by herself too?
Yeah, she's by herself.
Yeah, she
sure.
was there by herself. So she was trusting enough for all of that. Okay? After they were done the stream together, he asked another grown adult to have sex.
Okay, so
There is
when
no
you're talking about-
implication there.
my question. Okay, you're not answering my question. My question was simple. What's the difference between the way that she is being made to feel about the situation versus the reality of the situation? The reality of this is I'm just standing there holding a knife. I'm not doing anything.
No, the reality
the
of
reality
that's a threat.
But the reality is
That's a threat.
also
That's a
that
threat.
I am intending
No, that's a
to
threat, bro.
express
That's a
something.
threat. You can't compare those two.
Right.
It's a threat.
I am intending to
Oh
by
my
doing
God.
that, I'm intending to express something.
No.
And she
Holding the
is
knife, staring at
interpreting
someone is
that
exactly the same thing as saying I'm about to stab you. Exact same thing.
because I am intending to express something, and she is interpreting that thing as being expressed. So if when you say
That's insane,
she is
dude.
interpreting something, and we shouldn't focus on what she's interpreting, we should just focus on the reality of the situation. What she's interpreting
She's
is a part of
interpreting.
the
Okay,
reality of the
okay,
situation.
okay. She's interpreting that not having sex with him, saying no, will keep me off the stream. Okay, that's she's interpreting this based off the fact that he has more streamers
I
and
feel
he
threatened.
asked for
Please throw away
sex.
the knife nipples.
Okay.
No. I'm sorry, what were you saying? Repeat
So
that?
it's based off the situation, right? So, she feels threatened by him being a bigger streamer, and he asked for sex. That's the two things that make it so she felt pressure. Okay? And you're comparing this to being alone with somebody at night with a knife staring at them. That is not the same. This is the stupidest comparison I've ever heard in my life. They're nowhere physically the same in every fucking language. Every
What's
language.
being
No.
threatened is different.
Every
What's
language
being
in the
threatened is
world.
different, but they're both threats. They're
No,
both
they're
threats.
not.
They're just different.
Him having a bigger fucking
are.
platform and asking for sex is not a threat. Go bring that to fucking court. If I bring you to court and said this guy was staring at me with a fucking knife, you're going to jail. Go bring it to court that he has a bigger fucking audience.
Sorry. There are types of threats that aren't illegal. Right?
What?
You can
I need an
threaten something
example.
without
Maybe
it
I'm not
being a
thinking
legal
right.
thing
Maybe
to
I'm
do.
not thinking right about it. Name one. You can't just say there are. What is it?
Sure.
Name one.
Sure. If Tom were like, be quiet or I'm going to mute you, that's a threat, right? There are lots of things that are threats. Threats aren't all illegal. My point is, right? You can grant this, that there's a thing that can be threatened without it being illegal.
Can you give me one that isn't Tom saying something fucking directly to you? Can you please relate it to something to do with Destiny? Please. Destiny's
I'm
threat is
saying
no.
as a
Destiny's threat is up
I'm
in the
saying
fucking air.
categorically,
It's not him physically
people
saying
can
something.
threaten
Name me
things
something that's like this.
without breaking the law. When you're appealing to the law, that's stupid because there are other types of threat that aren't illegal.
Oh my God. What kind
you're
of threat
holding
can you
your
imply
moral
that's not
standard to,
illegal?
like,
Because you're
is
saying
this
that he's
illegal?
implying rape. He's implying rape, basically, by saying...
No,
If there's a pressure that she
I
can't say
don't
no,
think
if
it's illegal.
so
I
you think you
don't
can have
think
sex with
it's
girls that
sexual
think there's
at
no
one
fucking
point,
pressure?
but I don't
Wait.
think
You
it
think
is-
you can have
don't
sex
think
with
there's
girls
a
that
point
think
to
there's
do
a pressure she can't say no? You think you can have sex with that, and that's not rape? If you have sex with a girl that thinks she can't say no, no. This is my question.
Isn't a
If you have
physical
sex with a
pressure.
girl that thinks she can't say no, are you raping her?
If it's a physical threat that
Bro,
you can't say
oh
no,
my God.
yes, that's rape.
Oh, so it has
There
to
are
be the
other
kind of
types
threat
of
you
threats.
like. No. That's not how it fucking goes, dude.
There are different kinds of threats that should be perceived as being different.
Oh,
If my
right,
wife
right,
says,
and
"You can have
implication
sex,"
and
if my wife
right,
says,
and somebody
hold on,
having a
hold on.
big streaming
my
and
wife-
asking
if
for
my
sex is
wife-
definitely not a threat. You should level up with any of this bullshit you're talking
If
about.
I ask my wife and I say, "Hey, can we have sex?" and she says, "Yes, but only if you do the laundry." She is saying that I can only have sex if I do the laundry, right? There's a threat there.
Yeah,
If I don't
it's
do the laundry,
considered
then I can-
it's considered
Cool.
assault. It's considered
That's still
assault.
consent.
No. It's physically. I mean, it's literally considered assault to hold a knife and stare at somebody. Did you know that?
Right. That is an extreme.
Right.
What we're describing is a less extreme example.
It's
but it is
nowhere
still
the same. This is
It's still
nowhere the
bad.
same. Asking for sex when you have a big audience is not threatening
still
someone.
bad.
Then you mean
It is.
anybody
It's
with... So
threatening.
rappers
They're
can't
not
ask groupies for
physical threats,
sex.
man.
Rappers
Physical
can't ask
threats aren't
fucking...
the only type of threat that exists. I don't know how to like explain this to you other than to
Dude,
explain it very.
but you're not showing me any kind of threat. Implying...
There's a difference
No.
between forcing me
Asking
to-
for sex when you have a big crowd is not a threat. So show me the threat.
Okay, what kinds of threats? Explain. Give me an example of
The
threats. That are
fuck
not
do you
physical threats.
mean, man? I'm asking you.
Give me an example.
No,
of
no,
any
no.
type of
Answer
threat
that
is
question, please.
Give me an example.
Oh
of a
my
type of threat that isn't physical.
god. Dude.
Give me an example of a threat that isn't physical. Go for it.
Give
I
you
believe in
an
you.
example of a threat that isn't physical.
That isn't a physical threat, where the violence is not what's being threatened. Something other than violence is being threatened.
Oh my god. Why am I...
Is that a thing that can happen? Can other things than violence be threatened?
It's how is it threatened? If I have
I'm
a big... No, no, no,
asking
no.
if it's
Listen,
possible.
you asked me a fucking question. Let me answer
I'm
for a
asking
second.
if it's possible.
God fucking damn, bro. I've repeated the same thing over and over. Asking somebody for sex when you have a big audience isn't fucking
Okay,
abuse.
You're not answering my question.
Or a threat.
I'm asking, is it possible to threaten someone with a thing that is not a physical threat?
If you
Is
tell
that a
them
thing
it,
that you
like
can do?
telling them it, saying it, but it's not physical.
No, I'm saying I'm not threatening.
Why are you trying to dance
Physical
around that, guy? Stop trying to
repercussions.
make something else up for Destiny's situation, bro.
asking,
You're
if
trying to make
you
up
are
something else. No,
avoiding,
no.
is
Let me
it
ask you, yes or no.
possible?
If I ask somebody for sex when I have a bigger crowd, is that abuse?
It depends on the situation. It depends if you're wielding that bigger
No, it's
crowd
not abuse,
in
bro.
order to force an answer that is contingent in relationship to that crowd.
But that part isn't shown in what you're saying. Please explain to me, other than saying he asked for sex and he has a big crowd. Don't use those two things.
I'm trying to ask you.
Don't use those two things. How did he threaten her?
Okay. I'm gonna
Right,
ask
you
again.
can't because it's
It's
bullshit.
frustrating to me. Okay. I've already answered the questions you're asking, so like it's silly for you to just repeat the same question.
You
just
answered
leave
that
it.
question.
The larger question, I'm asking a thing that is going to try to further the conversation. At this point, you're not really furthering the conversation, so I'm going to try to like maybe like I'm going to pull you like a little. Rope,
I know this
okay?
is
You got-
lots of people like to
I
do it
believe
this
in
way. They just keep going.
I
I like to
believe
stick
in
on
you.
points
believe
because
in
it's insane. We dance around
believe
all
in
the
you.
information.
You're going to be capable of a little bit of like nuance and thought. I support you. Here is my question. Okay? Is it possible to threaten someone with something other than physical violence?
Is it possible to threaten somebody without? Yeah.
No, not threaten them without using physical violence, but threaten them with something. Like the threat is that you're going to utilize some sort of thing that is not a physical violence.
Yes, it is possible
Is
to
that
say
possible?
this to someone. Yeah, it's possible to threaten
Okay,
someone
give me
like
an
that.
example.
Not implying it,
Cool. Give me
but
an example. Give me an
saying
example.
if you don't suck my dick, you can't come on my stream. That's it right there. How about that?
Okay, so that would be an example of a
Yeah,
threat.
me saying it like that. Yep, exactly.
Cool.
Okay,
Okay.
now back to Destiny's
When I hold
situation.
on-
What did
okay,
he say that was a
someone
threat?
interrupted and want me to show me the number. Cool. So
What did he say that was a
in the
threat?
case of, so you just said that it is a threat to say, give me a blowjob or you can't come on stream. That's a
Yeah,
threat.
those physical words. That exact fucking sentence.
Awesome.
Don't
Awesome.
dance around that.
What's
That
the
exact
word?
sense.
I love it. I love it. I love you. You're gorgeous. You're like within 15 words of being correct. This is fantastic. Okay, cool. So if I don't use the physical words, give me your purse or I will shank you, but I'm holding a knife, something is being implied when I ask for $1.
This guy, bro, I just don't accept your analogy. It's not the fucking
physical
same.
violence implied.
Why can't
even
you
though I
name
don't
something
know
else that's
the
not
word,
physical violence?
say
Why did I have to
anything
name something that wasn't physical violence? You name something that's just like your stupid situation, but it's fucking.
My
It's
point is, I can imply
holy goddamn.
a threat.
Yeah, with
It
a
is
knife,
possible
it's
to
assault. That's real
imply
threats. That's real threats. That's real threats. That's a real
Implying
implication. That's a real
threats is still
threat.
a threat.
That's physically
Even
doing
if you don't-
something that's threatening somebody. Me asking a
Even if you
question and
don't
you
word
making an
for
implication
word
in your head is
state
not me
the
threatening you.
statement,
If I say to you right
even if
now,
you don't- Okay.
if I say
Even
to
if
you
you
right
don't
now, you
word
should
for
stop
word-
getting off. You should get off the internet. Do you take that as a
Okay.
threat now?
No, I don't. Even if, word for word, I don't say, give me your wallet or I will shank you. When I ask for their wallet, in certain circumstances, it is different than if a homeless person on the side of the road asks for $1 while sitting down.
Yeah, but that is not
There is
the
an
same.
implication.
It's different
There's
as
an
this.
implication
Okay, hold
there
on.
is a
Hold on.
threat
Wait. Hold on.
being
Wait.
made.
Hold on. Okay. In order for something to like generally be a threat normally, they have to have like the capability of hurting you in some way, or like power over you to hurt you in some way, and they have to have crap. What is the other? There has to be like a likelihood of risk for the victim. Okay, so like if I'm looking at somebody with my hands like this, they don't think that there's a likelihood that I'm just going to come smack them. I likely don't have like a whole lot of power over them to where if I did smack them, they're just going to smack me back. And then, what was the last one again? Crap. And then, yes, and then it's not like a whole lot of risk, even if I did smack them. Like, they're not losing a whole lot from that smack. Okay? If I'm holding a knife, now I am a lot more capable. I do have the power to do this, obviously, and the risk is that they get stabbed and that there's a lot there's a very high a large negative outcome from this, right? So it would be the same in the other scenario where Quibbles is saying Destiny has the position above them, he has the ability to stop putting them on stream, and the fact that he would stop putting them on stream would actually hurt them. Okay, so all three aspects still exist to where the threat exists and the implication would exist.
Okay, listen what you just said. So if you stab me in the street, okay, I can't change anything about that. I could die. My whole life can be ended. Okay, if you don't bring me on your stream anymore, I make my own stream. Nothing bad happens from that. If I'm depending my income on you, that is my fault. And if that income, wait, and if that income,
hold on, just one real quick. You are agreeing then that the threat exists. You just think that they're capable.
It doesn't.
Of doing something about it.
No. I'm not saying the threat. The threat exists in their head.
Okay, then let me ask.
In their head.
Are you? Okay, yes, but both threats exist in their head. So
no, dude. If you have someone in front of you with a knife, that is a physical. It's gonna happen no matter what. What do you mean?
No, it's not gonna happen no matter what. Once I stab you, now it's physical. But if I'm just standing with a knife, the threat is in your head. Okay, it is only in your head.
Then you run away. Then you run away. Then you run away from the knife. So when she thought there was a threat, she says no.
Hold on. So what I'm saying is, what you're saying is like, yes, they have the ability to just go do their own stream, and they have the capability of making their career by themselves. Even though Destiny would be a much easier path, they can still do it without him. Just as if you threaten me with a knife inside of a hospital, I have a likelihood of my life being saved and there's no real damage being done. So like, you can still threaten me with a knife. I can still be scared. This is still going to be a bad situation if you end up stabbing me. So I can still feel the threat, even though I can easily just get treatment and not die.
These are not the same. They're not the same, dude, because one's holding a knife physically fucking threatening somebody that could end their life, and the other one is something made up in someone's head that they're just assuming off of. The two things you gave me is he asked for sex and he has a big platform. These are not reasons to think that, oh, I'm threatened, I have all this pressure on me. That's not reasons to think that. And if it is, you probably shouldn't be fucking people at all. That's a you problem all in the end. It's the person that's doing the fucking to advance their career. It's not the person that has the career that chooses to fuck people who like him. That makes no sense.
I'm just trying to get you to understand the analogy that he's making. I'm not making an argument. I'm saying that the analogy that he's making as far as a threat existing is just what I'm trying to get you to
okay. I understand you want to think there's a threat existing, but that's not an actual threat 100%. Like, the level of... You want to talk about levels earlier. The level of that chance is what? How do you know? You can't measure that.
How do
the
you
chance
know that somebody's gonna stab you if they're standing?
Because
with a
in
knife?
no fucking world does someone hold a knife staring at you if they're not gonna do something about it. It's never happened this way.
They do if they're in a kitchen.
Oh my!
All right,
Dude.
hold on. I'm gonna let BPF ask a question. I gotta run to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
How you doing?
What's up?
Man, is that
wow.
fucking Quibble?
It is. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. Hey, Quibble, what is your actual position here?
My actual
You think-
position is
Yeah.
that I think that Steven should be engaging in sex with people who are not actively a part of his stream and are not actively attempting to future their financial future by virtue of their relationship with him. And so
What if these broads really want to?
if they really want to have sex with him, then
Uh-huh.
my solution would be that he should have sex with them, but that there should be a 2-month window where if they've just had sex with him, they're not allowed on stream for 2 months. Or if he's just had them on stream, they're not allowed to have sex with him for 2 months.
Well, what if the reason that they're motivated to having sex with this little gremlin is because he puts them on stream and elevates their careers, and so they think that taking a shot in the mouth from him is worth the exchange. What about that?
Right? You're a conservative, right?
Yeah,
You're
yeah. Who
against
cares about my worldview? You took a position.
So I think that sex is different than other types of work. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, that's not sex work.
Like,
Well,
yeah,
you're
man.
suggesting that you're trying to future your career, further your career.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's not
For
sex
sex.
work. They're not exchanged. That wouldn't not even fit under any definition of sex work you could come up
I
with.
think that
Thank you.
furthering your career. By
Give me a
virtue of-
definition of sex work in which you could possibly place the fact that some chick humped some powerful
If
dude.
my-
for
so the
clout.
question
That
I
is
asked
not
earlier
sex
in
work,
stream-
dude.
I'll just repeat the
Straight
question I
up.
asked earlier in stream. If I ask for my employee to clean up throw up because we're working at a bar or something,
They're not
whatever,
employees, Quibbles.
okay. I'm asking just 2 questions first, and then we'll get to the employee distinction.
Well, it better be analogous, or I'm going to be really pissed off.
It's going to be super analogous, and you're going to be like, "Oh my God, Quibbles, you're amazing. I love you." Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what's going on. I have a boss who asked me to clean up some throw up, or I have a boss who asks for a blowjob. Do you think those are analogous, or do you think they're different in kind?
I think that well, it depends on how you're trying to frame it. I don't understand. What's the intention? What's the intention of the person? What's the intention of the person?
I work at a bar, and they say, "Hey, clean up this throw up," and I'm saying, "Ugh, I don't want to clean up the throw up," and they say, "Fuck off, clean the throw up, or you're fired." And
Okay,
I say, "Oh,"
got
and
it.
I clean the throw up, and then
that makes
they
sense.
say, "Hey, give me a blowjob." I'm like, "Ugh, I don't want to give you a blowjob," and then they're like, "Give me a blowjob, or you're fired." Do you think those are different in kind?
Yeah, I think that there's a distinction with merit, but
Awesome.
again, the reason this is not analogous
Okay.
is because you would need to demonstrate how this dynamic operates as these people then becoming the boss because the women think they get clout from sucking their dick.
Boom chakalaka. I love this. Okay, cool. So, if I am instead of being a bar leader, whatever it is, it's a contractor, right? So I'm a construction magnate. I'm Donald Trump, and I, Donald Trump, want to have sex with my plumber, and so my incredibly heterosexual.
No. Your plumber wants to have sex with you. That's the only way that this would be analogous.
Thank you.
So your plumber contacts you, and your plumber's like, "Hey, Donald Trump," right? It's somehow a female plumber, which don't exist, but let's just assume in this hypothetical.
Gorgeous.
Let's just assume in this hypothetical.
plumber.
Let's just assume in this hypothetical they do exist,
Yeah.
and this gorgeous blonde bombshell plumber calls
I don't
up
know why
Donald
you made
Trump
her
one
Aryan.
day.
That's on you.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not all fascists. Go on. Though.
Yeah, by the way, you don't have to be an Aryan to be blonde, dumbass.
that's a good
But
point.
anyway,
I'm
that
true racist.
so that
Go on, yeah.
so that aside, it sounds like you have some racial hiccups.
That's a
But
good
anyway, that all aside, in this case, it would only be analogous if the person, in this case, the plumber is calling Donald Trump and propositioning him.
Okay, so the plumber comes.
The reason that this isn't analogous, you keep on trying to frame this as your boss does X to you. Okay, fair enough. I can understand that, Quibbles. But what about if the employee walks over to the boss and just demands that he receive a blowjob from her. Just
I
demands
love-
it. He just
So,
sees like or she's just like, you have to. I want this more than anything else in life.
I want more
What
than
did they
anything in
do?
the
What did
world
they
to
do
give
that's
my
even
boss a
immoral?
blowjob.
And
Yeah,
add
so
on
what
that
do
the
you
girl
want
made
to do?
past accusations. Add on that girl's
Yeah.
made past
So the answer-
accusations.
So the answer is this. The answer is
Yeah, what's the answer?
The question of who asked originally is relevant. It certainly is relevant. However, it doesn't change the undergirding power dynamic. There still is a power dynamic, and if
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about a power dynamic unless you're going to give me a moral implication with it. So
Yeah,
unless
the
you give
moral
me a
implication is
delineation,
that-
hang on.
the moral
Give me a
implication is that
delineate. Hang on.
Let
Let me finish.
me
Let
answer.
me
Let
finish.
me answer.
I haven't asked,
How dare
so you can't
Let's
answer
take
until I get my
answer.
question
Okay,
in.
go for it. Ask me your question. I'm ready.
So try to understand that your delineation point is what matters in a power dynamic to me. Just saying it's power dynamics, well, I'm a lot stronger than my wife and
Sure.
I have the money. There's a power dynamic there, right? But there's the delineation point that you and I can both agree is reasonable for why it is that that's an acceptable relationship, right?
Mhm.
So I want the delineation point.
Yeah. So I think that when a person's relationship with you is such that their capacity, like I think that just marriage across the board is different. So I would just put that in a completely
Why?
separate.
What's the delineation
Oh my
point,
gosh.
Quibbles?
Because marriage.
Now you are
requires-
quibbling.
Yeah,
Now you're quibbling, Quibbles.
I'm
Stop
being
quibbling,
honest.
Quibbles,
I'm
and
not
answer the damn
quibbling.
question.
You just
What's
keep
the
on
delineation
interrupting.
point?
You're interrupting. It's so
You
rude.
just
How dare
said marriage is different. I want to know why it's different.
and I was going to answer, but then you interrupted, which was
Well,
so rude.
answer.
Now I'm
Don't
deeply
take forever. Don't take forever. Just answer the question.
Okay, I'm deeply hurt. I think that marriage is different because I think that marriage is a system that allows for longer term, permanent, even hopefully, types of relationships, and those kinds of relationships, and those kinds of like systems, those legal systems, are designed to protect the weaker party. So things like the fact that when you get divorced, she's going to get some of the money. Things like if you get divorced, she's still going to have access to the kids. She's still going to have access to, blah, 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 blah. Those kinds of things.
Yeah, but
are designed
that would be the
to
case with
protect
just
your wife. the
yeah,
weaker
but Quibbles.
party.
That's
Yeah.
the case with just regular property for cohabitation as well.
Sure.
You still own your own property, things like this. There's still a power dynamic. What I want the delineation point for why some random chick who wants to blow a powerful dude because she just wants to and she thinks it'll give her some clout means that he should deny her that from your worldview. I'm trying to figure this out.
Yeah. Should
Can you help me?
Should a person be able to say, casting couch wise, you can be the star of my music video after you suck my dick?
Yeah, no, I don't think
Why
they
not?
should.
They shouldn't say that. Why not?
Well, because in that case, they're propositioning this person by holding something over their head.
Cool.
But what if
So I
they're on the casting couch
Yep.
and they say to the person, hey, I really want this part and I want to suck your dick?
You don't think that she might be doing that because she's concerned that if she doesn't do that, some other
Do
girl
I? So women are stupid.
Yeah,
Or
bro,
retarded,
come
can't make
on.
decisions.
No,
Women
I think
are
doing that is quite
women are
smart.
too retarded to make their own decisions.
They're not retarded. No, that's not at all. I'm
Oh,
saying.
okay, great.
I'm
So
They
then
saying
it
just
sounds
don't have
like- sounds like she
accountability.
really wants-
if you are offering that, that you are offering it under
Well, you're not
duress.
offering it. She asked. She's
I know.
propositioning
If she's
you.
offering that, she's
Mhm.
offering it under duress. There's a context in which that's
Well,
happening.
there's no duress.
There is duress. The duress
What's
is
the
that
duress?
she's desperate to get this part. She desperately wants to be able to make it. in the
Oh,
script.
hang on.
And in order
Hang
to
on,
do
now
so,
hang on. You're
she's willing
smuggling.
to
You're
sell her
smuggling
body.
in the word. You're smuggling in the word desperate. Let's say this chick is 40 years old, okay, and she's just kind
She's
of
not.
mid.
We're talking about a
She's just kind of
22-year-old
mid.
lad
Okay,
once,
well,
right?
let's say she's 30 years old. If you want to completely analogous to this situation, let's say she's
No.
30 years old.
We're not talking about Anna. We're
Yes.
talking about
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
no, it does
Okay,
matter.
pay attention.
There's a
Pay
difference
attention,
between being
Quibbles.
30 and being 23.
Quibbles.
There's a
Okay.
difference
Quibbles.
between being lad, who's
Quibbles.
clearly mentally ill,
Quibble,
like
quibble,
Anna's
stop
also mentally
quibbling.
Yeah.
I just went through your entire hypothetical.
Go for
Now try to understand this.
I'm ready.
Here's the distinction. Let's just say some 40-year-old mid chick who is successful in her own right. She has her own money. She's not desperate to get this part, or she's going to be starving in the street, and her children are never going to be able to eat again, which is what Quibble's scenario is. And she just really wanted to be in a movie.
Sex, they should go for it.
She just wants to be in a movie. So she goes in, she sits on the couch, and she's like, hey, I want to be in this movie. And if you put me in it, hey, shut up, Quibbles, and let me finish. And she says, hey, I really want to be in this movie. I'll suck your dick. And the dude's like, all right, no problem. What's the problem, Quibbles?
I was being silent. Am I no longer being silent? Should I answer?
Yeah, now that I'm finished, you can talk.
That's fabulous. Okay, cool. I think that there is a difference between someone who's established in the industry and someone who's not established in this industry. If Pokimane and XQC started a wildly, flamboyantly heterosexual experience tomorrow.
Answer to my hypothetical. Awesome. I don't care about these tangents. I don't care about your tangents. Answer my specific hypothetical, what she did wrong or he did wrong. What?
Repeat the question.
Okay, see, this is why you shouldn't go off on tangents. Just engage with the questions I'm specifically asking you.
I'm ready.
40-year-old, dumb mid-broad, right? Yep. She's somewhat successful. She's got a nice job, right? She just always wanted to be in a movie for no particular reason other than the fact that she did. She goes in, she meets a movie company exec. He says, I don't really think you're great for the part. And she says, well, I'll throw in a nice blowjob if you give it to me. What did she do wrong, Quibbles? What did he do wrong by accepting it?
I don't think that she's done anything wrong, but I think there's a difference on his end between accepting someone saying, hey, I'll, work as your, assistant director for this larger film, and then, maybe I can be in this one for whatever reason.
Okay, so the confines of the hypothetical I presented, you don't have a problem.
Can I answer your question? Jesus fucking Christ!
But you're not.
I would never. You really are like droning on a little bit too long.
You keep going off.
I can tell you what his answer is. His answer is that one person has the ability to take something away from the person based on a no answer, and the other person does not. One person has the ability to take something.
That can't be his answer. He would be a hypocrite.
My difference is that there's a difference in kind between asking for or offering up sex versus offering up work, because I think work and sex are different.
Yes, Quibbles, I know this.
Okay,
which is why I need you. Listen, I'm fucking desperate to get you to answer this question.
You're making noises.
Why won't you just answer the question?
It's my turn to be making noises. You must be silent. Okay, there is a difference.
Can you make the noise and explain what the problem is?
I'm totally comfortable with the idea of offering up work in exchange for work. And by the way, I'm also perfectly comfortable offering up in exchange sex for sex. If someone wants to say, hey, I'll give you a blowjob, but first you have to lick my pussy, I'm okay with that as a principle, right? That's an okay thing for her to offer and for me to receive.
A boss can say that to his employee?
Sex for sex.
Yeah, so a boss can go up to his employee and say, I'll wait.
Hold on, let me answer.
This is going nowhere.
Yeah,
Quibbles,
man.
don't engage with what I'm asking.
If it were actually just sex for sex, yes.
Engage with what I'm asking you. I don't care, Quibbles.
I'm trying to answer a different question than yours for a second. Then I will get back to your question.
Yeah, but were you going to answer mine at some point?
Yes.
What I was just saying, you got to answer his question.
How many years is this going to take, Quibbles? Do I have enough time to go make myself some food while you come up with an answer in your fucking head to my question? Here, Quibbles. Here, I'll let you listen while I make food. You tell me when I can fucking stop because you have an answer to my question.
Because I don't appreciate SpeakeaZy because he's sick.
Here we go. Here we go. I'm making some food here. Just let me know. Let me know. Go ahead,
Repeat your question once more.
Oh, I got to ask you one more time.
Yes.
What's the immoral implication? Why is it immoral for a mid-40-year-old chick to give an executive a blowy for a part in a movie?
Yeah, because sex is different than work. And exchanging
that's a non-answer. That's question begging.
Exchanging sex. I'm trying to answer. Exchanging sex
question begging
isn't acceptable.
You just restated the proposition, Quibbles. I don't care about that. Answer my fucking question. What's the moral implication?
So you're just asking why is sex different than work?
Why is it immoral?
Yeah. So your question is why is sex different than work?
No. Why is it different? Why is it immoral? What's the word immoral mean? Does the word immoral mean something different than the word different, Quibbles?
You have to explain why you think they have to be different. You're saying that they have to be different.
Because sex is a fundamentally different thing.
Yes,
Yes, we
you're
know,
saying that
Quibbles.
they
Thank
have
you
to
for
be different.
restating the prop. How many times you got to restate the prop?
You're
We know
saying
you
that
think
they
it's quicker.
you're saying hold on, wait. Because you're saying they have to be different, and he's saying why.
Yes.
So yes, you need to explain why they have to be different. Yes.
So the question is, why is sex different than work?
No,
The
why do
question
they
is,
have
why
to be
is it
different?
immoral for her? Listen.
Okay. The question
Everything
is,
that
why
you
is
can
it immoral?
possibly
The
analogize
question
to
is, why
anything
is
is
it
going to be
immoral
different.
to exchange sex for work? That's your question. That's what it boils down to.
No. They're not in this particular case. There's the exchange or the proposition came from the person who wanted the thing. Why is that immoral for that person to do?
Offering
It's
sex
work for
in exchange
sex.
for work.
Yes.
That is
Well, it
that
might
is
not be
the
work.
offer.
Work would be some type of exchange of labor for money. Maybe she takes the part for free. Who cares?
Okay,
It's
but
irrelevant.
it's work. It is work. You're talking about a form of work.
No, work would be something that you do in exchange for money and labor.
Right.
Labor in
She's trying
exchange
to
for money
further
is work.
She's trying to further her career, and the career is work. Whether or not she's literally getting paid in this moment, the reason she's interested in doing this thing is in order to further her professional endeavors. It's
Maybe,
work.
or maybe it's just for attention and she'll never do another movie again. She could have a million different motivations. But the question becomes,
if it's
and
just
this is the
so
important
if
distinction,
it's just for
is
attention,
if she wants the part, she
if it's
wants
just
the
for
part.
attention, if it's just for attention or just for a fun time, then yeah, they should be able to do. That's
Okay,
totally
great.
fine.
So can you tell me how, in this particular case that we're actually
Because it's
talking
work.
about, how we can't apply the,
Wait,
how is
hold
it
up.
work?
Okay. Did you understand what I just said there?
Yeah.
Okay, what did I just say there?
You just made the claim that it's perfectly acceptable as long as somebody is doing this, a woman in this particular case, in exchange for attention, just not in exchange for work. While I don't agree with that,
attention. If she's just doing it for a fun time,
Quibbles,
and there's no professional
Quibbles, I get
component.
it. Quibbles, I understand,
Right.
Quibbles.
Okay, cool. Go on.
Okay, I'm steel manning your position.
This is gorgeous.
Just so that you understand, I don't agree with that, but I don't care. It's irrelevant. I'll just go ahead and give it to you because it doesn't make a difference. Now, apply that same standard to the situation with Destiny. Tell me what the delineation point was. When did it become work?
When did it become work? When she started getting paid.
Yeah. Well, she did what Destiny was paying her?
No, she was getting a drastically increasing amount of money on Patreon as a product of having been
wait. So Patreon was her boss.
What?
So Patreon was her boss? That was the people who were paying her for her work?
If
because otherwise she just got paid in attention from Destiny, right?
If someone is a contractor, right? Back to the heterosexual experience with a plumber, right?
Yeah.
If my heterosexual experience with a plumber's a contractor. Like plumbing companies get fired all the time, right? And they're not even fired. I'm saying fired, but it's not even fair to call it fired. You just don't get rehired.
Yeah.
I work with one plumber to do one thing, and then the next project, I use a different plumber.
Yeah.
At no point there am I firing them, but there's a financial relationship of a contractor that I use as my go-to plumber time after time after time.
Do you think that streamers are employed, or do you think that they're independent contractors? Because I think they're independent contractors.
I think that a streamer, if you are consistently going onto Destiny's show, and a large proportion of your audience is your audience by virtue of the fact they find out who you are and they're building a relationship with you by virtue of the fact that you have been going back on this Destiny show time and time again, that means that there is a financial relationship between you and Destiny.
No, there was no financial relationship unless he's paying her. He's not paying her.
It's not employee-employer, but it is a relationship that by virtue of your being on that show time and time again, you are getting paid for that.
You're not an employee, Quibble. Not by any metric are you an employee. That's insane. And
I didn't say you're an employee. Contractors aren't employees.
Let me point this out.
Let me also
point out yet another distinction, which is that what if the sexual relationship begins before any of the elevation due to clout begins?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
what if the sexual relationship begins before the elevation of clout begins? Meaning, what if the studio executive he's famous, but
Yeah.
he's dating some chick who's not famous and nobody knows about the relationship and they're banging behind the scenes, and then later on down the road he gives her a part. Is that wrong too, Quibbles?
Yeah, I think it is.
Based on
The exact same situation.
right.
Exact-
So then my
exact
wife
same
was on Tucker. So my wife was on Tucker Carlson. Can she never bone me again? Can we never have sex, Quibbles?
If Tucker, hold up, if Tucker Carlson asked your wife immediately before or immediately after having her on his show in front of millions of people for the first time, absolutely, that would be a wildly inappropriate thing for Tucker Carlson to ask of your wife. Of course it would.
What if they were
Well, yeah, who said
messaging
it
each
wouldn't?
other though before all
Oh wait,
that?
hang on, back up. Who said that wouldn't be the case? That's just, again, you
If that's the thing that
reframing
Tucker Carlson
from something
does,
away. You're from
I would be
something away from what I'm asking
massively
you, which
upset.
is like, if you're looking at these as power dynamics, you say it's not even okay to date a person who's not even elevated by your clout, and you don't even think that that's the
you can
relationship,
date
and then later, hang on, and then later they are elevated by the clout. That's still wrong in Quibble's mind.
It's wrong if those things are happening in tandem. That's why I
Yeah.
said if there's 2 months difference, if there's 2 months
Quibbles,
space,
you're an idiot, and you don't know what
If
the
there's
fuck you're
two-
talking
let
about,
me
and you should
answer
just
the
stop
fucking
talking.
question before you say
You
that
don't
I'm an
need.
idiot.
There's no
You don't
need
even
for you to
know I'm an
answer
idiot,
anything else.
because
You're
you haven't
too
let me
stupid to have
say
this
my idiotic
conversation, dude.
statements. You must be silent so that I can say my things, and then after I've said my things, then you can call me an idiot. But you must wait. Okay.
Okay, I'll wait, and then I'll call you an idiot
I'm
after you're
proud
done.
of you. Then you can call me an idiot. But first I must say my things, and then you will be like, "Oh, ridiculous!" and you will be performatively outraged. Okay, this is beautiful. If there is even just 2 months of space between your wife goes on Tucker Carlson, and then Tucker Carlson says, "Hey, let's have sex," that's totally fine. What I'm not okay with is those two things, those two types of relationships being conjoined into a single type of relationship. It's fine to have a sexual relationship with a person. It's fine to have a professional relationship with a person. It's not fine to have a professionally sexual relationship with a person.
Okay, but do you realize how many problems there are with what you're saying? Like, can we walk through some of these significant issues with what you're saying, Quibbles? Can you do that, or are you going to get spurred out and start just sidetracking again? Or can we actually go through these one at a time?
I was
Let's go
hoping
for the
you were
one
going to
at a
scream that he was an idiot, but
Yeah,
you
yeah, that
can
is
do
true.
that instead.
Hold up.
We
Yeah,
is-
let's
this
take a
is
pause.
okay instead, I
BPF
guess.
needs to
Like,
scream
it
at me.
was freaking-
BPF, scream at me. I'm ready.
Okay.
No, thanks.
Let's-
Anyway, can we
Let's
get
go
back?
through this. Yes, we
Can we
can go
get?
through.
By the way, you're a fucking idiot, Quibbles. But can we get back through this
Beautiful. I
and go
love
through
you. What a
these?
wonderful scream.
Go
Let's
go
go.
through these one at a time. So the first thing I'd like you to answer to is the plumber shows up at the house, right?
Mhm.
And she tells the dude, let's say, I don't know, let's say he's famous, but she doesn't know he's famous, okay? Or she just maybe kind of knows he's famous, but doesn't know how famous. And she's like, "Hey, dude, I just like you, and I want to hook up with you," and they hook up, okay? And then 3 months later, he says, "You should really come and work at this studio that I'm in instead of being a plumber, and you'll make a lot more money." Is that bad, Quibbles? Did they do something wrong there?
3 months. There's been 3 months space there.
So there's been a significant enough amount of time, you think, where that's
And
okay?
if they've not maintained a financial relationship between that 3 months ago period and this now period,
Mhm.
and now
Yeah.
they're creating a sexual relationship that is clearly a separate relationship from the fiscal one, which is no longer active, rock on.
Okay. So then let's just assume for a second that Mr. Girl's report is accurate and
Okay.
that there was exactly this type of spacing which went on behind the scenes. Isn't it necessary now for you to change your position?
Sure.
So you're going to change your position?
If it turns out that actually Stephen was very clear and had this separation and that he never had sex with people at the same
Yeah.
time. they were
So
actually-
can you do you want
Hold on, let me
why
answer
don't
your
you
question. Let me answer your
yeah,
question.
but I'm so showing you where I can source this to you.
Okay.
That way
If
you don't
there
even
is
have to
a
ask.
delineation between those two different kinds of relationships.
Yeah, you don't even have to ask. I'll just source it to you so that you can change your position and the debate's over.
Okay, I'm ready. Go for it.
Okay, so go to Mr. Girl's Substack.
Okay.
Pull that up.
Yep.
Go to his article on Destiny, hit Control F, type in Anna, and I think it's the third Anna down.
I would
And
just
just
like
read
you
the
to
first-
know.
Just read
You
the first three
changed your
paragraphs.
position to my position, just so you know. But that's just we'll leave that alone. But okay.
I did?
Yes.
Wait, what was the change in my position?
That there are like scenarios where we can like make these things clear
I've said
and
from
have
the
like
outset-
clear lines between the two.
I said from the outset, if there's a 3-month if there's a 2-month delineation, I think in our original conversation I said 3 months, but I'd be convinced at 2 months. Yeah,
Why not 2 weeks? Why not 2 weeks?
Like, come on.
Why
dude.
not? Why not 2 days or 2 hours, Quibbles?
I think that there's a need to have some degree of time to delineate.
Yeah, but it's arbitrary, and you just made it up, right?
So is the number 18. Everything's
Yeah,
arbitrary.
that's true. The number 18 is, but this
Okay,
particular
so
number is
obviously-
based
hold
on
on, hold on,
moral. Hang
hold
on.
on.
This
Shut the fuck
is based on a
Obviously, there's
principle you
difference
have.
between having sex with a 6-year-old and a 26-year-old. The number
Yes, I
18
know.
is arbitrary, but the fact that
Yes,
we're
I
trying
know.
to delineate between the difference between a child and an adult is not arbitrary.
Yeah,
It's
but
just
we make
where
the
cutoff is
delineation.
arbitrary.
Hang on, Quibbles. Listen, we make
The
the
need for
delineation.
delineation is not
We
arbitrary.
make the delineation on a principle. We make it on a principle. Do you understand that?
I'm sorry?
So you don't want to be arbitrary on a principle. Do you
Okay,
understand
don't
the
have
difference?
sex with children is a principle that I have, and I think
That's
you
right,
have-
and that's why you would
Mr. Biggs
have
not
an
that.
arbitrary delineation, you stupid fuck.
Okay, so what's your delineation for kids?
It
versus
doesn't
adults?
matter what none
it
of this
does.
matters.
19 is
I'm
a
explaining to
arbitrary.
you that I'm telling
18
you
is an
that
arbitrary number. We
the
just
reason,
decided that.
yes,
But
yes,
it's
in
based off
principle,
biology. That's why 18.
The only
It's
reason,
not.
the only
Based on
reason, the only
biology,
difference.
it's
Quibbles.
23 for women and 25
All right.
for men.
Tell me when you're done spurting.
Okay, there is a difference. I'm not done spurting. I'm still spurting.
I know. I
There's
see.
a difference between children and adults. Exactly where we define that difference as having happened, we need a moment.
Yes, Quibbles.
That
Yeah, nobody's
moment
just-
is an arbitrary moment to choose. We could choose
Ah.
17. We could choose 20. We've chosen 18.
Yes, we can
That's
choose
the number we
60.
choose.
Yes, I get it. I get it, Quibbles.
Cool.
I understand.
The
But
number
what I'm
2
saying
months.
is,
The number. Shut the fuck up. I'm not done with my spurting. I'm still spurting.
God,
The number 2 months.
can't you just
is
summarize shit quick?
The
Just
number
quick,
2
man.
months. The number. It would be a lot quicker if you didn't keep interrupting, and I didn't have to go off on my. I'm spurting.
You just are obfuscating. I know
The number
why
2
it's
months is
arbitrary.
But
Oh
the
my God,
delineation
fucking God.
isn't arbitrary. The idea of a child and the idea of an adult isn't arbitrary. The
That's
idea
why I'm
of
asking
a
you for the
sexual
principle.
professional
Asking you for the
relationship and a
principle,
sexual-
stupid.
and
I've asked you for the
separate-
principle 50 times.
a-
That's why I said it's arbitrary, because there's no principle. That's why you came up with an arbitrary number. You have no
There's
principle behind it.
There's no principle that gets me to the 2 months, but there is a principle that gets to
Yes,
some
I know
amount-
Quibbles. I know there's no principle that gets you too
there's
much.
a
You made it
principle
up.
that gets to some amount of time. There's a principle that says you
Yeah.
shouldn't be having
So,
sex
but the amount of
with
time
children,
that you
but
came
you
up
should
with.
be having sex with adults
Yes.
if you want.
Thank
to
you,
later.
Quibbles. Quibbles. Thank you so much. So you said the principle is there has to be some amount of time. The arbitrary metric is that you made up the amount of time it needs to be based on the
Sure.
fact that just makes you
Just like we made up
comfortable,
18.
right?
Yes, just like we made up 18. Correct.
No,
Oh
no.
my God.
What do you
There
mean
is a
no? We did
principle.
make up
There-
18. That's a
no,
made
there
up
is a
number.
There is a principle there.
Agreed
about the
on.
delineation.
The basis
with kids.
of
Hold
why-
on, shut up.
Jesus
Let him
Christ.
finish. BPF go.
Yeah, I don't know. Quibbles, do you think you can calm down long enough to understand this? I'm talking me saying that, 2 months to 3 months, the number 18 and 17 are all arbitrary. Nobody's disputing that, Quibbles. What I'm saying is that if you have no principle for which to base this timeline on, it's arbitrary with no principle.
Cool.
Meaning
So what's
you
your
made it up
principle?
out of your fucking head based on it just makes you comfortable. You Quibbles comfortable. Do you have a principle for it or not?
Do I have a principle for 18? No.
No. Do you have a
why
principle for
children
2
versus
months? For
Yeah,
2 months
no.
versus 3 months, other than that just makes you happy.
Sure. Just like 18 just makes me happy.
My
Why
God.
18?
I think
Can
I
ask
agree
you?
with
Can I
his
ask you?
point. He is making
Can
a point that, like, yes,
Can I ask
18 is arbitrary. The
Why 18?
principles still stand separately, but we use 18 to say, like, you can have sex with adults, you cannot have
Yes, but
sex with children.
there's a
18
principle there.
is
Hang
Yes,
on. At least
and
there's
he's
a
saying there are
principle
two
there.
different
So
principles
my
where
question,
he's saying, one, you can have sex with somebody who's within your same realm.
Yes,
Two,
but he
you
has
cannot
no
have sex with
principle.
somebody who is
Tom,
not within the same realm.
He
Those
has
are the two
no
principles.
Okay,
what is
so
the
my
principle?
question-
Okay, this principle that he has for the
Why
delineation of work is only based on his specific preferences, right?
why 18?
So could you be convinced of a month and a half, Quibbles?
It's possible. I
What about a
probably be
month?
convinced. It's possible that you can convince me of 17. It's possible you can convince me of 20. It's possible you can convince me of 3 months. It's possible you can convince me of a month and a half. You're not going to convince me. You're not going to
There's-
convince me of a week.
Yeah, but I could at least provide you some type of biological evidence for why you should go with those numbers in principle.
Cool. Go for
Can
it.
you provide me
Explain
any
18.
kind of evidence for why we should go with 2 months other than because Quibbles wants us to?
I want to hear your explanation as to why for 18.
No, he can't.
And based on that, I will give an answer.
Okay.
Go for it. Why 18?
Quibbles. Did you listen to anything I
You've
just said?
asked a bunch of questions. My turn. Why 18?
Quibbles.
I
You
just
need to answer
I've asked you.
my
No,
question.
you've asked a bunch of questions. It's my turn. Why
Do you agree? Do you agree that there's biological data
Why
that shows that sex with children is damaging to them,
With a 6-year-old, absolutely. Why 18?
and a 12-year-old,
Sure. Why 18?
and likely a 13, 14-year-old?
I'm asking why 18.
He's
Give me an
getting
answer
there.
on why 18.
Because yeah. Well, I'm trying to answer your question, but even after I'm done answering it, just so you know, you're still, even though I'm going to provide you with evidence of this, you could just bypass the entire thing and say there is no principle that you have or evidence you can provide for this outside of your preference.
I've already said,
Because that's where we're going to
no
end up
principle.
anyway. I just want that on record first, Quibbles.
Okay. You already have it on record. I've already said on record.
Okay, great.
On record.
Well,
whatever that means.
then there's
I've
no
already said-
then
I've already-
I don't care. Then Quibbles, I don't care about your arbitrary preference, Quibbles.
I've
don't
already-
He's saying that you're making
I've
an
already
arbitrary
said-
preference with 18 as
Right.
well, and so he's at.
Yeah,
he's
but I'm saying that I can
just because it's
provide.
arbitrary-
Yes, but
Just
hang on.
because something's
saying-
arbitrary.
No, stop.
Be silent
Stop.
now.
You guys are
You can be
full of
silent for
shit.
15 seconds. Actually, it's more like 10. Just because something is arbitrary doesn't mean that it's not important. The number 18 is arbitrary.
Well, why is
It's
this
still
important? Why is it important?
Because at some point, a child is so young that they should
No,
not.
not with the age of consent, you fucking idiot. Why is it important with the 2 months versus 3 months?
Because I think that there's an importance of delineating between
You
the
think.
sexual relationship and the professional relationship.
Yeah, you
They
think.
shouldn't be one relationship. They should be two separate relationships.
You think they should in principle. I get it, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a single shred of evidence for this other than you?
Do I have a single shred of evidence as to it's damaging to children to be engaged in sex?
Answer my
I
question,
do.
Quibbles.
Yeah. So
was
my
that
answer-
the question I asked you, Quibbles?
I'm trying.
Was that
to
the question I
answer your
asked you, Quibbles?
Shh, you're gonna be okay. I'm gonna answer the question. There's a problem
When?
that we see when children have sex with adults. There's a problem that we see when
Oh my fucking
employees
God.
or people who are affected, intensely affected, financially intensely affected by other people, are having sex with those people who have massive financial power over them.
Show me any data. Any. Yeah,
Any
show me
data?
any data that
data
women
do
who
you wanna
skank
look
their
for?
way up are suffering serious consequences. Show me some.
Okay, what data? What data? would you-
Any fucking
give me an
data
example of the kind
to
of
support
data
this.
you're looking for.
So I can show you some biological data which would support why you shouldn't have sex with people under the age of 20 even. I can at least provide something. You have nothing.
I think he
Nothing.
could provide some sort of psychological damage based on somebody
Let's
who has
see
a
it.
big difference,
Let's see
or
it.
disproportionate
not gonna
power
be-
levels
okay.
in somebody.
He
not-
just said
there's
he
not gonna be
bullshit.
physical
He
damage.
made an affirmative claim. The
There's
affirmative
not
claim
gonna be
was
physical
he
damage.
can see
There's not gonna be
Quibbles.
physical
My turn.
damage.
Hold on,
I'm trying to
Quibbles,
answer
let him-
something.
hold on, Quibbles. Just let him
Quibbles.
answer.
Let
real
me
quick.
answer.
Hold on.
Shut up,
No,
Quibbles.
no, just hold on. Let him
It's
answer
my
real
turn to
quick.
answer, Quibbles.
You're very rude.
Let
Okay,
BPF answer real quick. Hold on.
Well, there's no way. You just babble incoherently because you're a moron.
Yeah.
Listen, this is important. He made an affirmative claim, Tom. His
Mhm.
affirmative claim was, we can clearly see blank.
Right.
I can't clearly see blank. So I
But
want
that's what I'm
evidence that
saying.
we can clearly
That's why
see
I'm trying
blank.
to
That's what
answer your
I'm saying is
question, but
I'm saying I think we can see that there are psychological problems that come with a big power differential and that being held over somebody's head. I
Well,
think
we
that
can't
can
see,
get
so give
that
me some demonstration. Give
Okay.
me some demonstration that a woman who fucks her way up is having severe psychological issues from doing it.
Give me some psychological proof that if someone is playing with a 7-year-old, not penetrating, just playing with a 7-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
sexually playing with a 7-year-old, but that is going to give
Oh my God,
psychological
you're gross,
discomfort.
Quibbles.
Obviously, it does.
No, well, no, there's
Obviously,
actual
it
data
does.
for this, Quibbles. There's
Yeah,
real
like-
data for this, Quibbles.
There's So okay, what data? What kind of data
Are you
we look
disputing that there's data for it? Do you want me to
No,
hunt
I'm-
down
I'm
studies
curious.
on what the
I'm
emotional
curious.
effects are on 7-year-olds for
curious
molesting them,
what-
Quibbles?
I'm curious, not physical damage, but psychological damage. What kind of evidence would you be looking for psychological damage there? Might you look at suicide rates? Might you look at, I don't know, what would you look at?
What? I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? The Discord cut out.
What kind of psychological data would you be looking at to suggest that the violation of children's bodies doesn't just have physical harm, but has psychological harm on those
You
children?
would look at self-reports, obviously, and you would follow them for many, many years to see if there's a difference in that particular demographic population than others. And if there were, and there were strong enough correlates, then you could correlate those things. Shut up, Quibbles. Shut your fucking mouth, Quibbles.
I'm being silent.
So you would look at the correlates, and then if you had a strong enough correlate, you would probably assume that it was true.
Okay.
So that's what I'm asking you for. Do you have any of those?
So you're going to look at self-reports?
You're not just going to look at self-reports.
Okay. But that's going to be a component of what you're looking at.
Yeah, so is paper that you write them on, Quibbles.
Cool. So
that's going to be a component of it too, Quibbles.
Awesome. So self-reports are a valid source.
How long is this going to fucking take, dude? Just get to your
point. Okay. Self-reports is a valid form of data on
not on its own
issues.
No, not on its own. It never is, ever.
Okay, not on its own. What else do you need?
You would need to have. Depends on it. This would depend on how you were.
Before we move on, we definitely do have.
Don't ask me a fucking question and then cut me off when I'm answering it.
Well, I want to first clarify this because you just agreed to one component, and we're going to take it piece by piece.
I didn't agree to any components.
No,
I didn't agree to anything. You're lying, Quibbles.
Maybe aren't enough, but
what did I agree to, Quibbles?
I'm trying to explain what you agreed to.
No, I didn't agree to anything. I just told you that this is one component.
So I'm going to ask you a question. Can self-reports be a component of evidence about psychology?
Yes, and you could turn into a balloon and float off right now. It's within the realm of possibility. What's your point, Quibbles?
We're taking it piece by piece. Self-reports can be a component of psychology. Self-reports can be a component of proving that there is mental trauma, mental problems as a product of having been abused as a child. Similarly, you can use self-reports as evidence if you are trying to make the claim that someone is being hurt emotionally by virtue of a relationship that they feel pressured into having with a person who has financial power over them. You would look at self-reports. It might not be enough, but it is a component of data furthering that case. What other things are you looking for in the case of children? What other kind of data would you look for?
Quibbles, what does any of this, if you better tie this back in, to what this has to do with a 39-year-old streamer who had some chick who he hooked up with, who he later got some clout from?
I think that if you feel pressured into exchanging the sex for the professional relationship, that is bad.
So it's just how we're just going to go off of feelings then. How you feel? You feel like even though you're the person, who hang on, Quibbles. So even though you're the person making the proposition, right? After you made the proposition and you went ahead and slept with the dude, well, now you feel bad.
Okay, you're saying this is about like feelings, right? But so too,
Yeah,
it's about
until you can give me a
feelings.
delineation point for these power
It's about
dynamics, I don't have
feelings.
anything else,
So
Quibbles.
too, it's about feelings. There's no there's not physical damage of every single child who's ever been abused. That's about feelings too, right? But we can
No, it's not just about feelings.
that those are
No.
important feelings.
No.
Wait,
That's
hold on,
not just-
Quibbles. Wait, hold on, Quibbles. If an
No.
employee
That's
comes up
insane,
to her
man.
boss and says, "Hey, I want to have meaningless sex with you for one night," do you think that the boss is
Tom,
doing
that's like
something
molesting
wrong?
a 7-year-old. Tom,
Do
that's
you
like
think the
molesting
boss
a
is doing
7-year-old.
something wrong by accepting that proposition?
Yeah.
I think void context, it's possible that could be consensual. It's possible that could be perfectly valid. What I don't think,
As long as it's a month before, right?
Like,
It's not or
what
a
I
month
don't
after.
think is if it were happening at the exact same time as she was just provided a raise, or at the exact same time as she was just provided some sort of a financial benefit, or when she's clearly seeking out some sort of a financial benefit, that is different.
Okay, sure.
So if it's the first time she's been on stream, that's the equivalent of just getting a promotion.
no, it's
Okay,
not. No,
so-
it's not. It's not equivalent to
So
it whatsoever.
Quibbles, how many years would you give Hugh Hefner? How many years in prison are you going to give Hugh Hefner for the fact that just hundreds upon hundreds of young women show up to his mansion and have sex with him so that he'll put their naked body in a magazine? How many years should he get, do you think?
Okay.
Or do you think we
There
should
are
skip right
types
to the
of
death
abuse.
penalty? Should we
Okay.
just take it right to the death penalty, Quibbles?
There are types of abuse that shouldn't result in jail time, but they're still bad.
So,
Oh my god.
okay.
Do you agree with that? Is that wrong?
Yeah, but what about the cult? Yeah, I agree with that.
Stop.
But
Stop.
I do. I
You agree
want
with
you
that?
to. I
He
just
said
said I
he's
agree
agreed.
with that.
Okay, cool.
I just said I agree with that, but I'm not going to take the culpability of the women out. You know what I mean? Why are you doing that part?
I mean, taking out the culpability of the women.
Well, like, so the thing is, so maybe Hugh Hefner's a little bit, maybe it's a bit of an abusive relationship from your perspective, right?
Sure.
He's super rich. Okay, he's old. He's got a lot of money. All right. Some of these chicks, maybe they show up from Kansas fucking City. I don't know. Okay.
Sure.
They walk into his little Playboy mansion. They proposition him. He puts their naked body all over a magazine. He pays them hundreds of thousands of dollars. And later in life, they have significant regrets and they feel like they were young, dumb, and got exploited. Right. And your claim is like, because this guy's in this position of power, he should have foreseen that. And so what he's doing is bad and it's abusive and it's awful. And he just kind of takes the culpability of the women right out of it. Like they didn't know what they were doing. Like they're too dumb to be able to make these decisions. You know, they just couldn't help themselves, Quibbles. They had to go and fuck Hugh Hefner and then get spread in a magazine.
Yeah, I'm not sure what your question is there.
Well, I'm asking you, are the women there culpable too?
I don't think that people who are on the receiving end of casting couch behavior are guilty of the
Even
casting
if they're
couch
the
behavior.
proposals of it, even if they're the proposers of the behavior?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Just no
Quibbles. You wouldn't
accountability.
hold that standard with anything else. There's nothing else you would hold that standard with. They're the proposers. They made the proposition themselves.
I would propose it for sex. I would propose it for prostitution. If someone is being prostituted and they're the one who says, hey, do you want to have sex with me? But they're a prostitute. I think the person who is the John is still guilty of something.
But just not the other. But wait, that's the exact same situation.
Yeah, I think that sex is different than other kinds of work.
Why? What would make that different? It's the same shit.
I think sex, this might be a conservative value that I have that you don't have, but I think that sex is actually something special.
I'm in your worldview, Quibbles, not my worldview.
Okay.
I'm asking in your worldview, why is there a delineation point between the prostitute and the John versus the Playboy Bunny and Hugh Hefner? What makes the prostitute have agency and the chick blowing Hugh Hefner not have agency?
Prostitution. There's not a difference there.
Well,
think that
then you
prostitution is
need
bad.
to admit that the Playboy bunnies have culpability, Quibbles, in order to
No,
be
I don't.
consistent.
When I say prostitution is bad, I'm not saying that the prostitutes are bad. I'm saying prostitution is bad. When I say casting couch behavior is bad,
Hang on.
I'm not
So
saying
is the
the
so
girl on
you're
the
only going to
couch
hold the
is
John
bad.
culpable, or do you hold the
I think that the
prostitute and the
John
John
is.
culpable?
I think that the John is culpable, and I don't think that the person who's been prostituted is culpable. No,
What if they're self-prostituting by choice
I don't
because they
think that
like
they're
it?
culpable. No,
So only the people that they're
the
giving
person in the position of
wait. So
Yeah.
so a woman wakes up one day and she says, "I just love sex. It's my favoriteest thing, and I should really get paid for it." They go out and some dude gives them a handful of cash and has sex with them. That dude did something wrong, but the chick didn't.
yeah, because I think
In
prostitution.
what way is this a consistent position, you crazy bastard?
Because I think that sex is different than work.
Based on what?
I think that sex is special.
Based on what?
Based on the relationship that people have to their bodies.
Based on the type of consent that's required.
So
for
wait, you
sex,
work
it's
with your
different from
body,
the type of
Quibbles.
consent
You
for
work with
harassment.
your body, Quibbles. What are
We
you
work with our
talking
bodies.
about?
I think
What is the difference?
I think that sex is something special.
Based on what?
I don't know how.
Just Quibbles' opinion?
If you want me to appeal to religion, like I can do that. If you
Just
want me
appeal to any. Just appeal
Hold
to
on.
anything.
It's based on the
If you want
type
me
of
to
consent
appeal-
that's required. That's what it's based on. It's based on the type of consent that's required. The type of consent that's required is different for sex than it is from a
Right,
job
but
or
he's
other
asking
things.
why is the
It's
consent
yes or
different?
no.
And the answer is
I
the answer
know.
is that the reason that this consent is different is because sex is different than work.
God, you fucking people. Tom, listen.
Jesus.
Saying to me,
because
the
of the
type
type.
of.
Yes,
Hang on. Stop.
I know,
Saying
I
to
know.
me, because it's the type of consent is different than this
I
type
know.
of consent, totally fucking irrelevant to me.
I know.
He says his exact words were, "Hey, Andrew, I consider sex, this thing that you do with your body, to be different from work, this other thing that you do with your body, and
Yes.
that you cannot consent in the case of you wanting to deliver your body for sex.
Right.
But you can do that in the case of work." I need to understand why in the world he would delineate these two things.
I don't
and
know
be
why he
consistent.
would. I would say the
Because I
type
think
of
sex is
consent is different, and the type of consent is different because there's a larger implication on what can happen to your body, whether or not you get pregnant, whether or not you
Nope.
create a life, like
That's
Oh,
not my
all
yeah.
sorts of other things.
Well, it's
But
way
outside
more
of-
dangerous. It's way more
If you were
dangerous than
wearing a
like being a
condom-
lineman or an underwater welder or shit like
if you
that.
were
What the
wearing a
fuck is that?
condom-
Like,
if you're wearing a condom
What?
compared to
I didn't
someone,
I'm
say
saying that there's really, really high risk jobs, dude.
yeah,
I didn't
sure,
say
I
anything
agree.
about danger. I'm
but you're
talking
saying
about,
the
like,
type of
something that
consent is
creates a life.
different, but like, how's it
You
so much
said that it's
worse?
different based on danger. You're
No,
saying it's different.
I'm not
The
saying that.
reasons you
I'm
listed were
not saying
danger.
I'm making a
Well, then what
spiritual
makes them
appeal.
different?
I'm making
Then
a
what makes them
spiritual
different?
I'm trying to answer. I'm making a spiritual
Okay.
appeal. I'm telling you that there is a difference between sex and other things. That there is a spiritual relevance. There's an
So
emotional
it's metaphysical.
relevance to
So
sex.
it's metaphysical.
that goes- yeah, it's metaphysical.
Okay, so what's the metaphysical principle?
So you're asking why is sex special?
No, I asked you what the metaphysical principle was. You're saying that this is
The
spiritual.
metaphysical principle.
So for instance,
Yeah.
Quibbles, you can't point at the soul, right? Can you show me
Sure.
on the human body where the soul is?
I can't point out the soul, not physically.
Because it's metaphysical, right?
Sure. There's a metaphysical.
Okay,
value.
great,
Yeah.
great. And the principle of the soul, we would say, is based on what? A creator who created you with a soul, right?
Sure.
It exists, but it's not tangible. It's metaphysical. You agree with all of this, right?
Yeah,
What
I
is the
agree.
metaphysical principle that you have for the
Mhm.
soul that makes sex different?
What's the metaphysical reason that I think that sex is different?
Well, it has to be metaphysical because you said that it's spiritual.
Yeah, I don't.
So now we're
I
outside
don't
of the
think that-
material.
I don't
Quibbles.
think that something that axiomatic. Is
So you don't have to justify your axioms.
I don't know.
You don't know if you have to justify your axioms. This is really high
I don't
level,
know how
high
like,
level
if you're
stuff, Quibbles.
the equivalent of the question that you're asking, I think, is as profound as the question of why do you believe that you have a soul? I don't know what the answer to that is.
No,
Why
it's
do you
not.
believe you have a soul?
I
Do
don't
you
care
believe
why
you have
you
a soul?
believe we have a soul. I don't care. I'm just asking you which principle of you have soul equals sex work bad.
I don't think that's what I said. I think that I said that sex is a fundamentally different thing.
Yes, and you said it's a fundamentally different thing because it's spiritual, and the spiritual element's going to be metaphysical, like a soul. And so, what's the principle, Quibbles?
The principle is that I think that the creation of life is one of the most, perhaps literally the most important thing that it's possible for us to do, not just as people, but as a civilization. The principle is that the the act of sex is something that has not just consequences in the way that like being a minor has, but massive emotional weight to it, that I think isn't just special because it can potentially be bad, but is also special because it can potentially be one of the most glorious and important experiences in someone's life.
That literally doesn't answer the question. It just restates. It just restates it, Quibbles. Just question begging. I don't care what you think. I'm asking you what the principle is. I was nice enough to let you go through your whole spiel.
I think I just answered to you.
Well, okay, give me a summarization in one sentence.
Yeah, give me a summarization of what a soul is.
Listen,
One more time, Quibbles. These are your claims, Quibbles.
Well, I just answered your question, so now it's my turn.
You didn't answer it, Quibbles. You went on this diatribe about nothing.
I could. Maybe you don't like my answer, but I answered it as best I could. Now it's
this is insane.
You won't answer it as well as
I could apply that what you said to any job.
You won't answer the question as well as I'd like.
Here's what you just said to me, Quibbles. You just basically said because it's high risk. That's what you just said.
No, it's high risk and high reward in a different, fundamentally different way than anything else in the world could possibly be.
Okay, so it's just the high risk factor.
It's a high risk and high reward in a fundamentally different way than anything else in the world could be.
Okay, why shouldn't we outlaw gay sex?
Why shouldn't we outlaw gay sex? What?
Yeah. Well, you don't want to outlaw gay sex, right?
Yeah, we shouldn't outlaw gay sex because it's an incredibly special experience that people can have together.
But it's really fucking high risk. It's really fucking high risk, isn't it, Quibbles? Compared to other kinds of sex.
It depends on how you're engaging in it, but it can sometimes be
just on average, Quibbles. It's much riskier. Anal penetrative sex is way riskier. There's no two ways around it, right?
Right now, it is higher risk to engage in anal sex.
Yeah. So should we get rid of that or no?
No.
No, of course not. Of course not. So the high risk factor is not the issue. So stop bringing up high risk factors and just give me the principle.
When I'm saying high risk, I'm not saying physical consequences. I'm saying emotional consequences.
A job could give you that too.
I would guess. Hang on, Quibbles. I would guess that if you were having much higher rates of riskier sex, that because you could contract so many different diseases plus damage your body, that the emotional factors would be higher on average than it would be for other people, right?
If you were asking, hey, historically, we didn't have protection. Hey, historically, we didn't have, birth control. We didn't have all of these different things. We didn't have condoms. We didn't have protections against STDs. Historically, is it wrong for you to be having lots of sex with hundreds of people? My answer would be, of course it is. Of course it's wrong to do that. If you're asking now, those situations have somewhat changed, but there are still massive implications from having not just physical implications, but emotional implications of having sex with hundreds of people.
Okay, great. So high risk equals we ban it. We outlaw it.
No, not that we ban it, but that certain things might not be banned, but you should probably encourage your own children not to engage in them. You should probably
like gay sex.
Not
so
engage.
You should encourage your kids not to be gay, right?
Gay sex. Not gay sex, because I don't.
Why not? Why not? Why not? It meets every one of these dynamic principles you just gave me.
It doesn't.
It does. It's higher risk on average. It causes way more problems on average.
If you're asking at the height of the AIDS epidemic, whether or not, even if you are gay, you should probably avoid having sex with dozens of men, butt sex with dozens of men, I might tell you you should give blowjobs. I might say you should avoid butt
So
sex.
where do we make this delineation point for this risk, Quibbles?
Sorry?
Just like again within your threshold of your comfort zone, whatever that is. Whatever like bizarre metric Quibbles just comes up with on the fly, that's the metric that we're supposed to use.
Hold on, wait. He's saying that there are like other medical advancements that give us the ability, not just medical, but like there's different types of lubes now. There's different types of condoms that you can use to lower the problems with.
It doesn't matter.
But there's still the possibility.
On average,
there's still the possibility.
Hang on,
though,
average, it's still way riskier.
Yes,
still way
on
riskier.
average, and so that's what he's saying is that like on average, sure, but there are still steps that you can take to lower your.
Well, that's nice.
Risk.
That's nice.
And
It's still way high risk. So
straight-
why not get rid of that high risk activity
If
because
you're
it's sexual
straight-
in nature?
Well, he's also saying that there are steps
if
that you
you're-
can take to make
Right.
your relationship with somebody.
Yeah,
with
like
a
I'm
higher
sure that
power.
there's steps
So here's
prostitutes.
my answer.
Yeah,
Hold on, no,
I'm sure there's
hold on,
steps
wait,
prostitutes
wait,
can take
hold
to
on.
do the same
Hold
thing.
on, hold on.
You, asked,
Here's
you
my
said
answer.
a question. So he's also saying that there are steps that a streamer can take to where they would have less risk of causing problems for the
Bingo.
person who's below them. So he's saying both
If
of those
you're-
things, they are both high risk, but there are steps in both of those that you can take to make the risk lower.
Kind of like telling
you
them
are-
that if they
Right.
stream with you, that it's nothing to do with your streaming, kind of like that.
Yeah, I would think.
Oh,
but,
okay.
yeah.
If you
Okay.
Kind of like.
I would say so. Yes.
So-
This is the most ridiculous shit
Yeah,
I've
man.
ever heard ever.
If you're gay, you probably should be on PrEP, for example.
Okay,
If
fine,
you're straight-
Quibbles, whatever.
If you're straight,
But you can 100% guarantee though that
I'm
the
not
risk
saying
would be mitigated just
I'm
by
not
not
saying if
engaging in
you-
it, right?
If you're on PrEP, that doesn't guarantee anything, but it mitigates something.
Right, mitigates
you're-
it.
if
So
you're-
as long
if
as there's
Can
long
I
as there's mitigation, it's
please finish
fine.
a sentence before you interrupt again?
well, who cares? You're not going anywhere with this, Quibbles.
I am. If you're
No,
on
you're
PrEP,
not.
you should be on PrEP if you're going to be engaged in
Get
gay
it.
sex.
We get it. Take your AIDS cream in the ass. We get it.
If you're
Okay.
okay,
We
if
understand.
you're gonna be engaged with a person who you're not
Mhm.
married to and you don't want
Yeah.
to have children with, you should probably wear a condom. If you're
Yeah, I get it, Quibbles. But there's no principle for which any of this rides on other than your own personal preferences.
No, there is a principle. The principle is that you should mitigate the potential repercussions.
Yeah, but
across
if we back up,
the
if we
physical
back
and
up into the why of the distinction for why sex is somehow sacred in Quibble's brain, you say that it's based on a metaphysical principle that you can't state because you're a moron.
In the same way that I can't explain why I believe in the soul.
Yeah, because you have no
why
grounding. You
I
have no
think
grounding.
sex is
You have no grounding for anything, and all of this is just your own subjective preferences.
If you
Okay,
think that the
literally
belief in the
all
soul
of
is
it.
subjective, then you will likewise believe that my belief that sex is special is also subjective. They're
Yes,
equally-
I already knew that, Quibbles.
Yes.
We've
Okay.
already established that
Yeah,
this
you're
is
just repeating
true.
yourself.
Okay.
If you
all right.
repeat the same statement, I will
wait.
repeat my
Yeah,
view on it.
we're
Yeah,
gonna-
there's no more reason to even engage with it, Quibbles. You
Okay.
basically said the only reason you should do this thing is because I want you to.
Okay, we're gonna end it here. I got to go to bed. But
That's
I appreciate everybody coming on. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man.
Well,
Thanks for having me on, bro.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Wiggles. Appreciate it, man. BPF, thanks for. We were looping for a while, so I appreciate you taking this in another direction. That was
Yeah,
fun.
nice to meet that other kid. What's his name? What's the other guy's
SpeakeaZy,
name
bro.
involved?
It's nice to meet you too, man.
Yeah, and can you agree with me real quick that Quibbles over coffee is a fucking dunce?
Yeah, yes. He's a fucking dunce. I agree.
All right, thanks. Have a nice night, guys.
You
Thanks,
too,
guys.
I adore you.
Quibbles,
Y'all
you're
have a
stupid.
good night.
bro. Yeah, you
Later.
too, man.
You're
Thanks, eh?
fantastic.
Hey, Quibbles, take care, bro.
Living in the present, never in the past. You give me the spark I need to find. I can hear it in the distance, coming out of the dark. It's moving towards you and me.
When it come to talking ghosts to folks, I'm possibly the closest. Now it's obvious I'm gold, I'll probably never get my roses. Though that shit you talking hopeless, I'm a walking guy, no joking. It's behind the mic, I'm posted, moving oceans like a Moses. Look, it's hard not to give up when you grew up in them frying pots. But nothing takes my drive, well, except that DUI I got. A brush to push aside the evil guy, but in my mind I'm not. And I had enough with trust, cause it's been rough with all them lies.